All right, my loves. Take a deep breath in. Breathe in all that beautiful, pure white light. And as you exhale, let go of all your stress, your worries, and anything else that may be on your mind, so that you can sit back and relax and enjoy this astrology prediction. Hello, all my beautiful souls, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we're going to be going through your October astrology for your zodiac sign. I personally do Western tropical astrology, so this is your basic Western zodiac sign. And if you do not know what your zodiac sign is in Western astrology, there are some online calculators so that you can figure that out. I highly recommend checking out your sun, your moon, and your rising sign to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for the month of October. And if you do not know what those are, again, there are some online calculators where you can find out your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. For your rising sign, you're gonna wanna know your exact location of birth, such as your birth city or town, and then you're also gonna wanna know your exact time of birth, preferably down to the minute, because your rising sign changes based on the minute, because that is the constellation that was on the horizon, that was coming up on the horizon when you were born. So it changes very quickly. So with that being said, there's going to be timestamps linked down below where you can skip right ahead to your personal zodiac signs to check those out. All the information will be linked down below in the comment box and as well as the description box, so that you can skip right ahead to your zodiac sign prediction. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop right into today's video. Okay, so my beautiful Aries, welcome to your part of the zodiac sign prediction. This is for my Aries suns, moons, and risings. So I just want to mention that we start off October, right on October 2nd, with Mercury finally going direct. It has been retrograde for the last month, and it has been causing some miscommunication, some delays for all of the zodiac signs, but is particularly going back direct in your 6th house, in the sign of Virgo. And this is gonna really help my Aries get back on track with the goals that they've been wanting to do. So if you've had goals that have been on your mind, a schedule that you've had on your mind that you've been really wanting to, get back into, after October 2nd, it is going to feel so much easier. Your schedule is going to balance out. You're going to realize that the things that have been delayed are going to start moving forward, and communication is going to be so much easier as well around this time. For all my Aries, it just feels like your way of communicating is coming across easier. The way that you're thinking is not so jumbled up anymore, and it feels much more clear and direct and forward. This could also be a time where a lot of my Aries are also focused on healing and health, or at least planning for those things, because when Mercury went retrograde, we probably reevaluated over the last month where in our life that we need to maybe improve. And as Mercury goes direct in the sign of Virgo in your 6th house, a lot of my Aries, now is going to be the time to actually fully go full force into those new directions and to take action on those kind of new realizations that you are making during the month of September. Now, on the 8th of October, we're also going to be having Pluto going direct. It has been retrograde for a few months now, and it is going direct in the sign of Capricorn, which has been affecting your 10th house. So for all of my Aries, with Pluto being in your 10th house, there's been a lot of major endings and transformations within your career for the past couple of years. And with Pluto now going direct in the sign of Capricorn in your 10th house, this is going to really allow a lot of those transformations to begin pushing you forward once again. Rather than reevaluating what you want constantly when it comes to career, a lot of you are really solidifying where it is that you want to go, and all of these major transformations are leading up to this point of you really figuring out what you really desire to maybe create and do with your life and with your career and the goals and directions that you want to go in. And even if career is kind of out of the question for you, you can also look at the 10th house as the mountains that you want to climb, the goals that you want to get to. So now with Pluto going direct here, all those transformations have led you up to this point where now you have a new mountain that you want to climb and you're a lot clearer on that direction. So that's happening on the 8th of October, and you're going to notice this energy really starting to take place all the way through the end of this year. It's going to really help you align with what you want and align with your goals a lot. Pluto also brings with it blessings. So even though it's been causing a lot of transformations in your 10th house of career over the past couple years, Pluto also brings blessings with it after it does its transformations. Pluto can sometimes cause things to get kind of like ripped from our life, or can cause things to go through major endings and re-beginnings and rebirths. But when we go through that rebirth, Pluto always brings a blessing. And since this is now going direct in your 10th house, from now up until the end of the year, you're going to notice things that begin to really align in this area of your life. So when it comes to those big goals that you have, you're going to notice things aligning more than they ever have before. And there may even be some really nice blessings starting to come in through the end of this year. Then on the 9th of October, we have the full moon in Aries, which is happening, of course, in your first house since you are an Aries, my love. But the full moons are closing out old chapters. And it's really interesting that this is happening right after the Pluto direct. So it's really interesting that both of these energies are happening at the same time. This is a very big rebirth for my Aries. And Aries, since you are the first sign of the Zodiac, you love rebirths, you love new beginnings. For Aries, that's their cup of tea. That's what Aries is good at. Aries is good at new ideas and new beginnings and getting excited about that. So with this full moon in Aries, now it's time for you to let go of some old stuff, especially since this is in your first house. So anything that no longer resonates with you, there may be aspects of yourself that you're ready to fully let go of. And the full moon is the perfect time to do that. So right on the 9th of October, this is time for Aries to shed your old skin. Like all those things that we're holding on to that remind us of our old self, now may be the time where it's time to let that stuff go. We can hold on to what it taught us and the growth that it gave us, but we can let go of all those things so that we can actually move forward into a nice rebirth here. Then on the 10th of October, we have Mercury moving into Libra, which is into your 7th house. This is going to be where you start to socialize with the people that are really close to you. You may notice that there's a lot more communication with the people that are really intimate with you in your life. So this could be like if you are in a relationship, your partner. This could be really close family members, really close friendships. But you're going to notice around this time that becomes a major focus. You may have a lot of people texting you or calling you. There may be a lot of events or just things going on. Mercury is the fastest moving planet in our solar system. And this creates kind of like a really busy kind of energy. Being in your 7th house, you may find yourself really busy with the people that are in your life during the middle of October, all the way up until kind of the end of October. Then on the 22nd, we're going to have Saturn going direct. So there's a lot of planets going direct in the month of October, which is such a beautiful energy because we've been having a lot of retrogrades. And retrogrades are not a bad thing, but they just cause a lot of like reflection and revision to take place. When we reflect on our past and we have to revise certain things so that we can begin moving forward again. That's what a retrograde is all about. And with Saturn going direct now, Saturn is the planet of commitments, hardships, challenges. So when this has been going retrograde in the sign of Aquarius, a lot of my Aries, you may have been reevaluating the people that are in your life, or you may have even been reevaluating your purpose, what you really want to do with your life, because that's that 11th house energy, the type of impact that you want to have on the world. So what are you really committed to? With Saturn now going direct, and with all the other stuff that we had going on for your career and your purpose and your goals, it really makes sense that around this time, for a lot of my Aries, you might commit to something bigger, something more beyond yourself. You may even be committing to a higher purpose within your career or wanting to make a bigger impact in the world in general. Some of you may also be wanting to have deeper friendships and really commit to the ones that you know are really solid for you and begin to let go of the ones that haven't really been people that you want to maybe commit to for your whole life. I think Aries, you're really deciding who you want to have in your life for the long haul, and Saturn going direct on the 27th or the 22nd is going to really help you commit to those type of people and kind of a higher purpose for yourself. Then on the 23rd, we're going to have Venus moving into Scorpio, and this is in your 8th house. So Venus is now moving into your 8th house. Venus usually doesn't really like Scorpio or the 8th house that much, but at the same time, it can increase our finances in certain ways, but it can also be a time where we have to maybe reflect and let go of like old things that have been holding us back in relationships. This is letting go of grudges. This is transforming kind of more negative things that we've had in relationships. So if we've had some sort of like bad blood with somebody, or if we've had even just something minor, like something minor that's kind of like maybe an annoyance or something that we've been maybe complaining about lately when it comes to our relationships and the people that are in our life, or even with your money, it is time to let that stuff go so we can transform it, so that we can actually do something about it. So we could let the past go and transform it to something that actually serves us, right? So now's a time to take all those things that were maybe blah, and Venus transiting the 8th in Scorpio, this is time to transform those into something that's good. So this is having those conversations with people to be like, you know what? I want things to be good here. Let's sort this out. Let's transform this energy so things can be positive moving forward. Then on the 25th, we're going to have a new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio, which is in your 8th house. So this is a brand new beginning, and it's so interesting that it's happening the day after, or a couple days after, Venus moves into this area as well. Now we're about to have a new beginning. So solar eclipses are very like intense with their energy. It's kind of more of like a bang, if you want to say that. So the new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio is going to be about you healing and letting things go and having a brand new fresh start, especially when it comes to the things that were maybe sort of that we were hanging on to from the past. Things that left a bad taste in our mouth, maybe things that have maybe slightly been bothering us. Now is the time to fully let that go, and we are having a fresh new start. There could be a fresh new start in some of your relationships where you're having deeper conversations about like, hey, can we let this go and have a fresh new beginning? That sort of stuff is going to happen around mid to end of October for my Aries. Then on the 27th, we have Jupiter, which is in its retrograde still, and it's going to be re-entering Pisces. It went into Aries, but now it's going backwards and it's re-entering Pisces, which is in your 12th house. Now Jupiter is wanting my Aries to expand your mind more once again. So we've had our kind of like new beginning when Jupiter moved into Aries, and this was all my Aries expanding yourselves. But now it's time to reevaluate and maybe start to expand our mind a little bit more to realize, you know, what we really want in ourselves, how we want to transform, how we want to move forward, what we want to learn and grow. Jupiter is hugely about learning and growing. So when it goes retrograde back into the 12th house in Pisces, we are learning and growing much deeper lessons. We are thinking much deeper about things. The amount of growth that my Aries, that you are going to be doing as Jupiter moves back into Pisces here is huge, but in a very positive way. I just want to reiterate that. It's a very positive thing, because even Jupiter retrograde is incredibly positive, but I think a lot of you are going to be like curious about learning deeper things. And a lot of you are going to be maturing a lot around this time. You might be reflecting and having like big epiphanies and big realizations about your past experiences, and this is going to really help you grow and attain what you want in your future so much more, because as we grow as individuals, our capabilities increase so much more because we know more about the world, we know more information, and we've observed more, we've lived more, we've experienced more. And so my Aries, you're now implementing and really growing and learning from those experiences. So at the end of the month, this is really going to help you expand your consciousness so much more, and your ability to fix old mistakes and to also overcome old challenges that used to hold you back is going to be otherworldly. So this could even be in relationships. Some of you will be learning a lot through the reflection of relationships in your life, and this is going to be allowing you to expand and grow a lot more. And this could also apply to career for a lot of you as well, or even saving money, things like that. Dreaming about, how do I get to my fantasy dream life? Is that possible? Is it real? Yes, it is, but maybe we need to learn and do some character building in order to be that person and make those proper decisions and choices in our life that are going to lead us to that. So Jupiter re-entering Pisces is going to really allow this mental expansion for my Aries. Then on the 30th, we're going to have Mars going retrograde in Gemini. This is in your 3rd house. Mars going retrograde helps us reevaluate conversations, reevaluate our communication. So my Aries, I think a lot of you are learning about how to communicate and not to react so fast. Mars going retrograde in Gemini is going to be a huge transit for my Aries about learning how to not react very quickly to things and to actually sit back, relax, and reflect before maybe coming to a consensus or a decision, or just allowing like a knee-jerk reaction to happen. I think a lot of my Aries, you're becoming a bit more patient, which is usually not a very Aries quality. Usually Aries wants to get things done really fast. Usually Aries is like, let's go, let's react. It's more of that sort of sign. But I think a lot of my Aries, you are learning a lot about patience and how to step back from situations and reflect on them prior to reacting, and that way you're more in control of your reactions, and it feels like you have more of a choice rather than feeling like the universe is choosing for you, or rather than feeling like life just chooses for you. A lot of my Aries, you're practicing how to be patient and make your own choices and all of that jazz. So that is your month of October. That is what's going to be going on and happening for my Aries. And now let's get a little bit into my Aries love life. So for those of you that are Aries sun, moon, or rising, we're going to try to get some information about your love life. So let's get into that section. Okay, so my Aries love life, we have the 10 of Pentacles coming up here. And let's get a couple oracle cards for you as well for your love life in October for my Aries. We have getting to know each other, the 10 of Pentacles. I think the getting to know each other is that it is a reflection of the patience that we were talking about earlier. And we also have healing family issues. Ooh, and you know what? That actually fits in with our 10 of Pentacles. So a lot of my Aries, your love life during the month of October is about healing and forgiveness, and also kind of noticing where we need to heal our past a little bit. So some of you may be bringing certain scars or trauma from your childhood or from certain family issues that have happened in the past, and October may actually be a month where there's a lot of growth around this, where we're able to actually heal a lot of that older trauma or fears that we're bringing in from our past. So if we've experienced something in our childhood, it might still be sort of coming up as a fear or a trigger within our current relationships right now in our life. This could even be something just in your general past as well. It doesn't necessarily have to apply just to family, but I really think that you are getting to know yourself on such a deeper level, to the point where you are going to have a lot of growth and a lot of transformations. I also think a lot of you are getting closer to your family in the month of October, and I know we're talking about your love life right now, but I'm really seeing that there's going to be almost this realization and forgiveness around your family during this month. This 10 of Pentacles is just such a positive card, and it's just making me feel like there's this loyalty, but also this just like celebration and closeness that's happening, and it's a lot more long-term and sustainable for you, my Aries. And I also think it's going to help improve your relationships a lot. I also think you're opening up to somebody. I'm almost seeing you opening up to somebody about your previous maybe fears or experiences that have caused certain fears in your life. And I think that it's healing because you're opening up about it. So that is something I'm definitely seeing for the month of October for my Aries for your love life. I see this turning out so beautifully, and I see it healing a really big sort of thing that has been in the way for you. Like a fear that's been standing in the way, or a challenge that's been standing in the way. I see you healing that because you're opening up about it, and I really think you're healing it to its core, which is going to be very long lasting, and I see this being a permanent change for you and something that's not going to have to come up again down in the future. I really think that this is like a big sort of ending of a chapter, and anytime we have a 10 in tarot, it indicates the ending of a cycle or a chapter. So you'll never have to go through that again. And it's a very happy cycle closing as well. It's something that's very healing and very beautiful. So that is what we have for my Aries love life in the month of October as well. I hope you enjoyed this reading for your horoscope for the month of October. Again, don't forget to check out your other sun, moon, and rising signs to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for October. And I'm sending you all of my love, and hopefully I see you in my next video. Bye. Hello, my beautiful Tauruses, and welcome to your part of the astrology prediction for October of 2022. Welcome. This is for my Tauruses, suns, moons, and risings. Very excited to get into it with you, and I hope you are too. So let's talk about your astrology transits. So right on the 2nd of October, we have Mercury going direct. Mercury is finally done its retrograde. It has been retrograde for the past month, through basically the whole month of September. And this has been a time where there's been maybe a lot of delays, some miscommunications, just stuff going on that is causing, stuff to take longer than it should, or a lot of rescheduling and things like that. With it going direct right in the beginning of October, on October 2nd, this is going to help things begin to move forward a lot. So my Tauruses, anything that's been sort of on the back burner for you, anything that's been sort of delayed that you've been waiting for, things are going to finally start moving direct. And it's moving direct in the sign of Virgo, which is also another earth sign. This is happening in your 5th house. So this may be affecting some of your dating life, or even some of your just fun and more recreational side of you. So when it comes to the time that you have for more leisure and pleasure activities, there may have been certain delays or certain things happening where it just felt like you were too busy to take time for yourself, or maybe it just felt like just things were happening to where maybe there was some delays here, or maybe it was just like we weren't getting as much of this area of our life as maybe we wanted. But with Mercury going direct in Virgo in the 5th house, this is going to cause a lot of healing around your dating life. And it's also going to cause a lot of healing around your pleasure and leisure part of your life. For those of you that have children, it'll also be causing things to start to balance out and move forward again with your kids, especially if there's been delays in appointments or things like that. Those things are now moving forward because the 5th house is children, pleasure and leisure, and dating. So it encompasses all 3 of those major aspects of life. And with Mercury going direct here, things are going to start moving forward and balancing out in those areas. We're maybe realizing where there were certain issues here, and we're sorting that out right in the beginning of October. Then on the 8th, we have Pluto going direct as well. So a lot of planets are actually going direct in the month of October, because we also have Saturn direct as well. But with Pluto direct in Capricorn on the 8th, which is happening in your 9th house, this is going to really help a lot of my Tauruses figure out who you really are. The 9th house is where we expand in our life, who we want to expand into. It's also about higher education, higher learning new things. There may have been a lot of transformations for my Tauruses for the past couple years in this area when it comes to your philosophies on life, when it comes to the way that you even view life, your perspective. There may have been a lot of transformations lately. And with Pluto going direct in this area, in the sign of Capricorn, you're really holding yourself up to a higher standard now. My Tauruses, you are realizing where you used to not hold yourself up to a higher standard. Capricorn is really helping you realize that we deserve more, and we need to hold ourselves to those higher standards. I think a lot of my Tauruses, you are maturing and you are doing way higher learning than you have ever done before. And with Pluto going direct here, you are finally getting your break as well. Because when Pluto went retrograde, it was probably helping you shed a bunch of old beliefs over the past few months. It was probably helping you see all the different areas where maybe we didn't have certain standards for ourselves, or maybe we had even commitment issues for some of my Tauruses with the sign of Capricorn, it can cause us to realize maybe where we had commitment issues, or maybe even where we were overly needy in certain areas. All this kind of stuff is coming up to be transformed, and it has been transformed. And now Pluto's finally going direct. So all of that stuff is done and dealt with. As it went retrograde for the past few months, all that stuff is like closing out. So Pluto going direct, it also brings us blessings in these areas. So my Tauruses, you are about to accumulate some blessings up from now all the way up until the end of this year. You are going to start to accumulate more blessings into your life, because Pluto, every time it does a transformation, anytime it transits a certain area, it'll bring us blessings in that area as well. So I think my Tauruses, you're going to get more opportunities to expand yourself. You are going to get more opportunities for more growth in your life than you've experienced before, or than you've even expected for yourself. There's going to be so much growth that's just flowing into your life that you're like, oh, whoa, oh my goodness, like how did this happen? Where did this come from? You know, this is where you're going to start flowing in, and there's going to be a lot more maturity in your life too. You are learning brand new stuff that you're like, I didn't even know this existed. I didn't even know I was capable of this. It's going to be stuff like that as well. So all your philosophies, your perspective on life, it is transforming, but in a very beautiful way. And you're going to get blessings in this area as well over the next few months. Then on the 9th, we're going to have the full moon in Aries, which is in your 12th house. The full moon is closing out old chapters for us. Anytime that there's a full moon, it helps us shed the old, and it's a completion of a phase. You are now in the completion of a phase in your 12th house. You are now completing old mental stuff. You are now completing old dreams that you had. You are putting the wrapping bow on it. It's like, okay, I got that dream. So now it's on to expanding that dream, or it's on to the next dream. It's on to more stuff now. But you have now accomplished something. And now it's time to put the finishing wrapping bow on it, and now expand it even further. Now go into a new goal. So I think a lot of my Tauruses, you're going to be making new goals around, mid-October, about what now you want to step into, how you want to grow more now. And it's going to be a very beautiful, beautiful time. Then on the 10th, we're going to have Mercury moving into Libra. Since it's going direct now, it's moving back into Libra. This is going to be in your 6th house. So my Tauruses, a lot of you are going to start creating new schedules for yourself, especially if things have been a little bit busy or even delayed or just all over the place for the past month. As it moves into the 6th house, this is going to be where we get a lot more organized with life. My Tauruses, you are getting much more organized. Rather than having life be kind of all up in the air where we're like, oh, I'm going to do this today, or I'm going to do that. I feel like a lot of you are going to be really focused on, I want a schedule, I want a routine, I want something that I'm actually looking at and I know what's going on in my life and it feels good because I know what's happening. There's that sort of energy where you're balancing out your schedule a lot more. A lot of my Tauruses, some of you may also be really focused on health around this time, because the 6th house can also be the house of health. It can also be the house of getting work done. So some of my Tauruses, you are going to be ready to wrap up things and projects that maybe have been delayed a little bit, or maybe we were getting a little bit behind on certain chores even. And Mercury going direct in the 6th house and going into it with being in Libra, this is going to really help my Tauruses get your life in order. You are going to be that person that has their life in order and on track and focused on health and focused on being your best. Then on the 22nd, we're going to have Saturn going direct in Aquarius, which is going to be in your 10th house. As Saturn goes direct in this area, it's going to help us commit to work stuff and work goals. So Tauruses, you're getting your life together. First we had this Mercury going into your 6th house. Now we have Saturn going direct in your 10th. This is really helping you take more responsibility in your life. This is helping you get on top of your responsibilities to where you feel really good about them and you're like, okay, things are flowing easily. It's easy for me to get on top of these responsibilities. It's easy for me to complete these things. You're taking your life so much more seriously, and there's a level of maturity that you haven't even felt before that's coming in during the month of October with all of these direct planets. You've had the time to reflect and revise all of these areas for the past month and even few months. So there's been a lot of reflection and revision, and now you're really ready to take on the higher stuff, the bigger stuff in your life. And Saturn direct is really helping you do that as well. You may even be committing to a bigger work goal as well for some of you. Then on the 23rd, we're going to have Venus going into Scorpio. So it's going to be transiting Scorpio now, which is going to be your 7th house. And as Venus transits this area, this is going to bring up deeper aspects of your relationships. So a lot of you are getting deeper, and it's also a time of like letting go of old stuff that maybe used to bother us, because Scorpio is the sign of transformation. So Venus moving into Scorpio is a sign of us getting deeper and letting go of the old stuff. But the only way to get deeper is to let go of all the stuff that used to hold us back, letting go of all the stuff that was like getting in our way. And this is a time where you're going to start getting deeper. And you may also begin forgiving yourself for certain things. There could be forgiveness around other people, and also just getting deeper in your relationships in general. Then on the 25th, we're going to have the new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio as well, which is also your 7th house. And the new moon solar eclipses, the solar eclipses in general are like a much more intense energy than just regular new moons. The solar eclipse is something much more like intensified in its energy. Being in your 7th house, this is going to be a time where there's brand new beginnings in your relationships. This is a time where you may be making radical new decisions or plans in your relationships. You may also radically decide like who you really want in your life versus who you really don't want in your life. There also could be radical things about getting very deep with somebody in your life, getting to know them on a much deeper level, getting to know all the ins and outs of somebody. So some of you may be getting deeper with one of your relationships. This could be a friendship or this could be a romantic relationship, but it is in your relationship house. So there could be all sorts of different things coming up around this time. New moon solar eclipses do bring out more intensified energy. Then on the 27th, we have Jupiter re-entering Pisces. It has been in the sign of Aries, but it has been retrograde. So now it's re-entering Pisces, and this is in your 11th house. So this is expanding your relationships in your life. And it looks like there's been a lot of like transformations around your relationships and a lot of like realizations around this area. So then it's interesting that Jupiter is going retrograde and it's going into your 11th house as it re-enters Pisces. And so this could be where we're sort of dreaming about what we do really want in our more friendship relationships, the type of people that we really want to have in our life. This could also be us maybe fantasizing about what we want in the bigger picture of our life. What does that bigger picture look like? And how do we make it work a little bit better with the people that are in our life? How do we want that to look? How do we want that to be? The 11th house is also sort of focusing on humanity as well and the rest of the world. So some of my Tauruses, there may be this reevaluation of how we want to make our mark in the world. What is our purpose going to be? What kind of impact do we want to have? And Jupiter is about expansion, right? So as it goes retrograde in this area, maybe we're looking at like how we used to be versus how we do want to be now when it comes to your place in the world, your impact, your purpose. So that's going to be a time where you may be reevaluating those things. Then on the 30th, we are going to have Mars going retrograde in Gemini, and this is going to be in your 2nd house. Mars retrograde can bring up different areas where we need to reflect on our deeper emotions and our actions, and it can bring up some kind of like, more intensified emotions, to say the least. Being in Gemini, this is reflecting on the things that we say or how we communicate. Being in the 2nd house, this can be around your career. This could be around how you spend your money as well. So there could be certain things where you might get frustrated with yourself with maybe your spending habits. Some of you may be getting frustrated with yourself because maybe we're not meeting some of those goals. The 2nd house can also indicate maybe we're getting frustrated with ourselves because maybe we're getting a little bit behind on our career goals. So we may be looking and reevaluating and reflecting on these current choices so that we can transform them and change them moving forward, so that we're actually meeting the goals that we really want to, and we're also making our life more comfortable. There could be certain things as Mars goes retrograde that we're realizing have been making us a little bit uncomfortable when it comes to our career, our schedule, our time, and or our money, or our resources, or the material things that we have in our world. So around this time, we're going to be realizing maybe where we need to reevaluate and revise those things in our life. So that's what's going to be happening at the end of October. So my Tauruses, that is what we have for your month of October for my Tauruses, suns, moons, and risings. Now we're going to be focusing on my Taurus's love life for the month of October. So my Taurus's suns, moons, and risings, love life, let's get into it. Okay, so my Taurus's love life for October. Okay, so we have the Ace of Swords, and we also have the Five of Swords, but it is reversed. Then we're also going to get an oracle card, or maybe two. So let's see, Taurus's love life in October. We have the soulmate card coming out. So many of you are realizing what you really want. And also, I'm going to give you a key into knowing who your soulmate is. The key to knowing who your soulmate is knowing yourself on such a deep level. When you get into alignment with yourself and what you really want and deserve, and you focus in on that energy, and you can actually begin to see very clearly what that energy is. So if you focus on what would it feel like to you if you had your soulmate, what would make you feel the most love in your life, and what does that feeling feel like? And start to pinpoint, like, you know, is this person a good communicator? Is this person gonna romance me? Do I wanna be this type of romance? Do I wanna be that type of romance? Because there's multiple different types of romance, multiple different types of love. And if you can define what it is that makes you feel the most love, if you can become your own soulmate, you are going to recognize it in another person very easily. You're going to know whether they click with you or not. You are going to know whether they are meant for you or not. It is going to feel so correct because you'll be able to recognize that feeling in somebody else because you already recognize that feeling within. So that is going to be how you know when you meet your soulmate. So I think a lot of my Tauruses for the month of October, one of the things that I'm seeing for you is getting to know yourself on that level. And you're going to begin to really see what you desire in your love life. And if some of you are already in a committed relationship, I think you're just realizing what it is that you really want. And a lot of you, if you're in a relationship, you are becoming a lot closer with that person, and that person is discovering more about you, and you're also discovering more about them. Even if you guys have been together for a really long time already, you are discovering more. And I really think that there's going to be sparks flying in October for my Tauruses if you're already in a relationship. If you are single though, you are realizing what it is that you really want, and that alignment is going to help you so much, and you're actually going to begin magnetizing to you what it is that you want. The Ace of Swords is putting down a clear decision, getting a very clear mind and a very clear picture. This is a yes. The Ace of Swords is a yes, and it helps us make proper decisions, and it helps us communicate what we really want. And the fact that we have the Five of Swords being reversed tells me that all of my Tauruses, you are learning how to really communicate what you want, and you're learning how to say no. And you're also learning how to say yes. You're learning how to say no to the things that you do not want. You're also learning how to say yes to the things that you do want. And you're learning how to make very clear decisions rather than kind of being jumbled all over the place. Rather than letting people take advantage of you, or rather than being on different pages and not sorting it out prior. There's no more of that. It's like, no, we want clear, concise things. And my Tauruses, that is what's happening in October. And it's going to really help you find your person. Or again, if you're already with somebody, this is going to help you communicate what it is that you really desire and what you really want. And I really think sparks are going to be coming out for my Tauruses during October for your love life. So my Tauruses, suns, moons, and risings, that is what we have for you. Be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising signs if you have not already, in order to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for the month of October. I am sending you so much love. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button down below if you want to see more videos like this in the future, because I'd love to have you there, and hopefully I see you in my next one. Bye! All right, so my beautiful Geminis, welcome to your part of the October 2022 horoscope. This is for my Gemini suns, moons, and risings. So in the beginning of October, right on October 2nd, is when Mercury finally goes direct, and it's going direct in the sign of Virgo, which is in your 4th house. Mercury has been retrograde for the past month now. It has been causing delays, it has been causing miscommunications, it has been causing all sorts of stuff happening for everyone in this realm. And as it goes direct, it is going to really help things begin to move forward. It is going to help things become a lot more clear, and it is going to be much better. Retrogrades, I do want to mention, are not a bad thing, by the way, but they do, they're a time when we're meant to reflect and revise on things. So as it goes direct, we're finally moving forward once again. Since it's in the sign of Virgo in your 4th house, this is going to begin moving things forward in your home life and your foundation. So there could be good communication happening here around your home life. This is going to help you rebalance your schedule around your home life as well, because Virgo can deal with schedules, it can deal with your health as well, and it can also deal with your body and your physical well-being. So Mercury direct over here, this is going to really help you get more comfortable and really set down more solid plans around your home life, especially if things have been sort of like a disarray. When Mercury went retrograde over the past month, a lot of my Geminis, you may have found that your home life schedule was kind of just all over the place. We weren't really things were maybe delayed. Maybe we didn't even feel like we had enough energy to sort of do things when we were at our home, or, just different things like that. It's kind of like just delays getting in the way and other things that are causing stuff to be all up in the air. Things will now become a lot more clear. There's going to be a lot clearer answers and a much more solid, reliable foundation to where you feel like, okay, things are reliable, I'm feeling safe, I'm feeling secure. You may also notice that money is easier to save around this time, but when it went retrograde, maybe there was things that we had to catch up on, maybe there were certain bills that we had to catch up on, maybe there's certain delays with money coming in, but now that it's direct, things are gonna start flowing back in. All of a sudden, money's coming in a lot easier. It's going into our savings, our comforts are there, things are going good. So that is happening on the 2nd of October, so right in the beginning. Then on the 8th, we also have Pluto going direct. So there's a lot of planets going direct in October, which is going to really help things begin to move forward, whereas before it was sort of like revisions, replanning, revising, all sorts of stuff like that. And it's going direct in Capricorn, which is in your 8th house. So there was a lot of things with Gemini where you've been transforming and letting old stuff go. A lot of my Geminis, with the 8th house, it can bring up our past so that we can transform it and let it go. A lot of my Geminis, you've been letting go of your old self. You've been letting go of old belief systems that no longer work out for you, old ways of being that are no longer working out for you, old grudges from the past that were holding you back. Pluto's coming through here to kind of take all of that away. So rather than going through life living with oh, I don't like this, or I don't like that, or I have bad memories over there, or I have this over there. Gemini, for one, you're also really good at letting stuff like that go. But at the same time with Pluto, since it's been transiting your 8th house for the past while, it has been really calling all of my Geminis to let go of the past, to have a whole transformation, to transform it so that you can realize how beautiful that all of those things were, that they led you to where you are now. So the 8th house is the transformations of endings and beginnings. So things that ended for you over the past few years are now being transformed. They're being completely renewed and transformed in your life, Gemini. And Pluto going direct over here is going to be such a beautiful transit because it's going to actually bring you blessings. So things that didn't work out for you in your past, things that were kind of like, maybe they left a bitter taste in your mouth, things that, you know, maybe we were committed to, but then they didn't work out, all of that is transforming. And with Pluto retrograde over the past few months, it's been allowing Geminis to make realizations about, I need to really just shed that. I need to fully let that go. I need to fully just like have a sense of newness in my life so that I don't continue to repeat the old patterns, or that I'm not constantly living in the past. Pluto's been helping Gemini shed that. And as Pluto goes direct here, you are committing to something completely new. You're committing to completely new goals. You're committing to a new self. And it almost is going to feel as though you are nowhere near the same person that you were a few years ago. Nowhere near. Pluto causes that big of a transformation, especially when it is in the 8th house. There's a whole new you. And Gemini, you're also really good at creating like a whole new you, but Pluto just does it on an even deeper level. It does it on the deepest sense of our core, to where it feels like you're like a completely brand new person. But again, Pluto brings with it blessings. So even though Pluto is a planet that usually takes stuff away from us, anytime it takes stuff away from us, it's actually because Pluto is like, I have something that's so much more meant for you, and then it gives you blessings and brings it in your life, and it's shinier than ever. So Pluto will help take away those things. It's almost like, the best way I can explain this, and this is actually a beautiful kind of like, I guess, explanation, is almost like taking away like a soother for a baby. The baby is like, no, I love the soother, but Pluto's like, you've grown up. You've grown up a lot, and you do not need that anymore. So, But then Pluto instead will bring you like, you know, a beautiful friendship, you know? So rather than needing the soother to help us get through our problems or to help us feel calm and grounded and whatnot, Pluto will be like, here is the best friend or your soulmate or whatever to help you, right? So Pluto helps with those things. It always brings a blessing. It's like you're ready for more. Pluto always brings a blessing because it knows that you're ready for more, and it only ever takes something away is because you're ready for something bigger and something more in alignment with you. So you're going to notice blessings are going to start coming in your life over the next few months, all the way up until the end of this year, and even slightly also in the new year as well. But you're going to notice bigger blessings start to come in because you're shedding that old you. And as you begin to just let go and accept the letting go of your past, it is going to bring in those new blessings even quicker, and it's also going to be easier because Pluto will take with it what it wants to, no matter what. Whether you want to let go of it or not, Pluto will be like, I'm bringing up situations where you're going to have to let it go, but then it brings you the blessings in your life, okay? So then on the 9th of October, we are going to have the full moon in Aries, and full moons are always like the completion of something or the ending of a chapter. And this is in your 11th house. So this is the completion of a chapter and a cycle with your friendships. And it's also the completion of a chapter when it comes to your bigger purpose in the world. So some of you have kind of completed a sort of purpose that you had for yourself. And I think a lot of Geminis, you are now ready for something bigger and for something more. And also you're ready for new connections in your life. I think you've completed a phase with certain people in your life, and there's somehow a new phase opening up for you, and the ending of a chapter when it came to the different people that you had in your life. And also again, your bigger purpose about how you want to serve the world or how you want to, have your purpose. So that is going to be something that is also changing on the 9th of October. Then on the 10th, we have Mercury going into Libra. So Mercury is direct again. Now it's moving back into the sign of Libra, and this is going to be when it enters your 5th house. And the 5th house is about dating and romance, fun and leisure and pleasure, and also children. So depending on which of those are relevant in your life is going to change how it affects you, because the 5th house is all those 3 different things. And Mercury moving into this area is going to help us balance out our dating and romantic and pleasure life. I think Geminis, you're going to be a lot more focused on how can I create more fun in my life? How can I make all sorts of things in life more entertaining rather than kind of living, you know, boring or mundane? Because Gemini, I don't think you like boring and mundane. You don't like that at all. In fact, I feel like that's one of Gemini's biggest fears. But with Mercury, transiting the 5th house is going to bring about with it a lot more fun and entertaining things in your life. And I think you're going to just feel like you are focused more on the fun and pleasure. Fun and pleasure, you're figuring out how to add that and sprinkle it into all areas of your life a little bit more. And for some of you, if you do have children, you're focused on like, how can I create like a more fun environment for them? How can I create more entertainment around here? Some of you may also notice that people want to get in contact with you more. If you are single, this could be a time where you're asked out on more dates, or that you find yourself talking to somebody that you might be interested in. If you're in a relationship, you may find that there is a lot of spark around this area, and there's more romance happening, and there's more deeper communication of getting to know each other. So that is a good time as well. Then on the 22nd, we have Saturn going direct in the sign of Aquarius, which is in your 9th house. So a lot of planets going direct in the month of October. Saturn direct, though, is where we had to revise maybe what we were committed to. We maybe had to revise in order to overcome certain challenges that were maybe holding us back. But Saturn moving direct is really helping us now. Now we've figured out, we've had to reevaluate those issues and those problems, and now it feels like we can move forward again. Now it feels like we know what to commit to, and we also know how to problem solve for certain things that may have been sort of standing in our way before or causing resistance. So Saturn helped us sort of see what those things were over the past few months during its retrograde. And now that we've sort of reevaluated that, we could see what that is, now we're able to really move forward in much bigger ways. And since this is happening in your 9th house, a lot of my Geminis, you are committed to expanding further. I feel like some of my Geminis, you felt a little bit stagnant, but with Saturn direct now, this is going to help you begin to expand once again. So rather than feeling stagnant, it's no longer time to reevaluate, re-question and all that. This is going to start to help energy move forward once again, so that we can focus on the bigger things that we want to do and how we can begin moving outwards once again and expanding once again, rather than retracting and going within. So now it's time to expand once again. It's going to feel really good. Then on the 23rd, we're going to have Venus moving into Scorpio, which is in your 6th house. Venus moving here is always a time where we're more focused on our work, but our work feels fun. It can also be a time where we're more focused on our appearance and our physical body and our health and our routine and our schedule, and focusing on just creating more love in this area. This is a time where it's like, I want to begin to love and take care of my body. So my Gemini, some of you may be really focused on creating a new workout routine. Some of you may be interested in implementing a new sort of like physical exercise in your life, or even focused on a new diet or meal plan for some of you. You're just focused on health in general. So however that really applies to you, there's more of a focus on health, but with Venus, sometimes this can indicate our physical body and our appearance. So some of you may be wanting to make more physical changes to your appearance, especially since this is in the sign of Scorpio. So there may be a big transformation that you want to do around this time. So some of you may be wanting to like change your aesthetic. Some of you may be wanting to change your body, and maybe you're focused on a workout routine that's going to help you achieve something that you really desire, things like that. So Venus transiting the 6th house is going to really bring a focus to those things, but it is also going to help you bring out more love into your career. My Geminis, around this time, you're going to find ways about how to transform in order to create more love and inspiration in your career as well. Some of you may also be, there may be a project going on around this time where it's more of a physical, we need to focus on aesthetics or something. That could also be a thing where Venus transits the 6th house. Then on the 25th, we have our new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio. So solar eclipses are intense energy, but they are a new intense energy. So there's a new sort of cycle beginning. Anytime that there's a new moon, it's a new cycle, right? And being in Scorpio in your 6th house, there is a new cycle when it comes to your schedule and your routine. There is a new cycle beginning, and it's a major new cycle, by the way, because this is a solar eclipse that we're talking about. So this is like, we are getting our emotions in order so that we can feel like we are paying attention to what our intuition is trying to tell us when it comes to our schedule and our routine. We are going to be creating new schedules and routines when it comes to our health. There's a new cycle here when it comes to your health coming out. There's a new cycle when it even comes to your work life at this time. Then on the 27th, we're going to have Jupiter re-entering Pisces. So Jupiter has been retrograde for a while now, since July. I think it was in July that it went retrograde, but it's been retrograde and it's now re-entering Pisces because it was in Aries. And that is going to be when it re-enters your 10th house. So this is going to be a time where we're reevaluating certain things that may have been holding us back in career. So there's certain things that Gemini, you want to expand in your career, which is working out great with all the transits that we have during the beginning of the month. But as Jupiter moves back into the 10th house in Pisces, this is going to help us reevaluate our vision when it comes to our goals. What is your vision? What does that visual look like to you? A lot of my Geminis, you're going to be reevaluating that and replanning that by the end of October and sort of revising it so that you can expand even further, so that you can expand beyond what you previously planned for or thought. Because I think Geminis, you're ready for more. You're ready for more expansion. And I think all the good energy that you're going to have throughout October is going to help you think even bigger. And so Jupiter is helping you reevaluate that so that you can make it also realistic, and so you can actually plan it in a way that is tangible and real for you. Then on the 30th, we are going to have Mars beginning its retrograde in the sign of Gemini, which is in your first house. So Mars retrograde can bring up more intense emotions. And being retrograde in Gemini, this is helping us sort of get over and reevaluate maybe the way that we put pressure on ourselves. Mars is the planet of taking action, and being in the sign of Gemini, which is in your first house, this is how you personally take action, how you motivate yourself and your personal energy. But when Mars goes retrograde here, it is helping you reevaluate how you spend your personal energy and how you motivate yourself. Some of you have been motivating yourself in a way that needs to be revised, that needs to be reevaluated, because maybe we've been allowing ourselves to just push ourselves because of anger, or pushing ourselves because it's like, I have to get this done, or it's like, I'm so unproductive right now, I need to do this so that I feel productive. Like all these sort of maybe more negative things that we say to ourselves that actually drain our energy. So it's actually the opposite of motivating ourselves, even though we're pushing ourselves, but we're pushing ourselves with resistance, if that makes sense. Because for one, we're talking negatively to ourselves, which pushes us back, but yet we're doing it so that we can push forward. So it's almost like this energy where it seems like we're almost stagnant. It's like taking a step backward to take 2 steps forward, which can be a little bit exhausting after a while. So I think you're going to be reevaluating this by the end of October so that you can begin taking steps forward without having to be in your own way or being your own resistance. You're going to be reevaluating that so that no longer is that sort of dynamic. You're going to be fixing that dynamic with yourself. So that is what we have for my Gemini suns, moons, and risings for the month of October. If you are curious now about your love life for Gemini suns, moons, and risings for October, let's hop into your love life. Okay, so my Gemini's love life. We have the 7 of Pentacles coming up, so there's going to be a lot more planning for your future in your love life and watching it grow. Some of my Geminis, some of you may be a little bit impatient during the month of October when it comes to your love life and the things that you're beginning to manifest and you're wanting to grow into more. So the 7 of Pentacles can indicate that maybe we're a little bit impatient on something, or maybe we are watching something grow and we're like, please come faster, please happen faster. So if that's been going through your mind, the month of October is about learning how to grow things faster. It's learning about patience for one, but also learning about how to put more forward so that things do go faster. Because the 7 of Pentacles reminds us that the work that we put in is what we get out. So if we're growing a garden and we're only watering it once a week, but maybe it needs to be watered optimally 3 times a week, then of course we need to reevaluate the way that we're taking action so that we can give it the right amount that it needs in order to thrive its best, in order to be its most optimal. As you can see in this card, some of the plants that he's growing is brown and then some of it's green. So that indicates that we maybe need to reevaluate some of our action so that it gets into more alignment, so it becomes more optimal. So if you're wanting to get more out of your love life, if you're wanting it to be more optimal, it's going to require a shift in what we're giving. Sometimes we can even give too much, right? So sometimes we can literally overwater our garden. So it's learning that proper balance. I think all of my Geminis, the month of October is learning the proper balance in your love life. So how can we provide the most optimal resources, energy, action, time, romance, all that kind of stuff? How can we provide the best, most optimal stuff? So I think you're learning a lot about you and what you need, and also how to be your best self. So the month of October is, I think, really learning, how can I be my best self? Where could I improve? I think the biggest thing for Geminis for your love life for the month of October is, how can I improve? Where am I currently lacking? What could I currently work on? Or what aspects of myself are maybe even overbearing? That could be another aspect of that. So how could you be better? Okay, and then we also have the card of new love. I think a lot of you are creating, and I don't see necessarily new love in the sense of like, oh, there's like somebody new maybe coming into your life. If you're single, that could definitely be the case. But for those of you that are in a relationship, what I'm seeing is a new way of loving, creating a new way of loving where it is more balanced, where we are creating the most optimal love. So maybe we're sort of learning more about ourselves and the way that we could show up in order to create the best kind of love. And then we start a new cycle of love. This new love card is like this new cycle where these plants are going to start to grow the most optimally, and we're going to get the most out of our garden. So that is something that I see is happening for Geminis for your love life for the month of October. And it looks like you are absolutely creating a new cycle of love for you that's so much more prosperous and provides you with so much more fruit. There's going to be so much more fruitfulness beginning in the month of October for my Geminis. So that is what I'm seeing for you. I hope you all enjoyed this reading. Don't forget to check out your other sun, moons, and rising signs in order to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for the month of October. I am sending you so much love, and I hope I see you in my next video. Bye! Hello, my lovely Cancers, my Cancer suns, moons, and risings. Welcome to your part of the October 2022 horoscope. I am excited to get into it with you. So basically on October 2nd is when we have Mercury going direct. Thank goodness, right? Because Mercury has been retrograde for the past month. So throughout basically all of September, we've been having Mercury retrograde, and it has been causing delays. It has been causing misunderstandings. It has been causing all sorts of things to arise in the month of September that have been all sorts of just like reevaluating and things like that. The retrogrades are actually very positive because it is a time of reevaluating things and revising them in order to become better. But it's always nice when those planets go direct and the energy just starts moving forward once again. It is always nice to have that energy. So the Mercury direct is happening in your third house in the sign of Virgo. So this is gonna really help clearer communication in your life, and also a clearer mentality and mind. So when it comes to things that you need to figure out, problems that you need to solve, people that you need to communicate with, people that you need to understand you, this is going to start becoming a lot easier right on the 2nd of October as Mercury begins going direct once again. Things are going to become so much easier when it comes to communication, when it comes to learning, when it comes to figuring stuff out and problem solving. So that's going to really help all of my Cancers, especially if you've been noticing issues in those areas over the past month. It is going to really start to move forward and feel a lot better and a lot clearer right in the beginning of October. Then on October 8th, we're having Pluto going direct as well in the sign of Capricorn in your 7th house. Pluto has been transiting this area for you for a while, and it's been going in its retrograde for the past few months. And now it's finally going direct again. So we have a lot of planets going direct during the month of October, which is allowing the energy to move forward once again. But Pluto can cause major transformations in whatever area of your astrology that it is transiting. And it causes some major transformations where it will remove certain things from your life, but it will also bring you beautiful blessings. And that is something that is not mentioned enough when it comes to Pluto transits, is Pluto, yes, it does sort of eradicate certain things in our life and completely take stuff away where it's like, whoa, but it also brings us beautiful blessings in those areas as well. And the reason why it even takes stuff away is because it takes and removes the things that are no longer serving us and that are no longer for our highest good anyway, things that we've outgrown, that we might have not known that we've outgrown, that we're maybe having a hard time letting go of ourselves because we're like attached to it and we're used to it. Pluto helps remove it. And then it also brings us what we are now ready for. It brings us something that is so much more in alignment and so much more meant for us. So when it's in your 7th house, this is going to deal with the people that are in your life. This deals with your close friendships, even your family, and your even romantic partnerships, all sorts of stuff like that. So Pluto, since it's been transiting this area for my Cancers, you may have noticed that certain friendships have just been completely lost for you. You may have been noticing that certain people have just completely left your life or transformed, but at the same time, my Cancers, you have also gotten close with the people that you're actually meant to be close with. And even if you haven't had a lot of those relationships come into your life yet, Pluto, since it is now going direct once again, is going to begin bringing you a lot of those blessings in your life, especially when it comes to the people that are in your life and your intimate and close relationships. Pluto has been really making it known who is meant to be in your life and who's not meant to be in your life. Pluto has also been removing the people from your life that are not meant to be in your life. And it may have been a shocker. It may have been like, how come that person just randomly left my life? But Pluto reminds us that whenever it takes something away, it is because it was no longer serving your highest good, because there's something that's so much more meant for you. So Pluto is almost like, you could imagine Pluto as the job of the planet that looks at your house and evaluates it. And it's like, this window's cracked and broken, that sink faucet's not working anymore, that's not doing anything. And Pluto just takes it away without asking. So Pluto just comes through and it evaluates like the things that are in your life. And it's like, I don't like that. I don't like that. That's not good for you anymore. That's not good for you anymore. I'm just going to remove it. And you might be there like, I don't have a sink anymore. I don't have a window anymore. All of a sudden it's gone. And you're like, what? How am I supposed to live in here? What's going on? But then, Pluto comes back a little while later and it's just like, oh, here's stuff to replace that with, by the way. I got you much better stuff, so here you go. And then you're like, oh, sweet, cool. But Pluto kind of does it without asking, so it can be a bit of a shocker, especially when it first leaves and you come back home and you're like, what? Like, what has happened? But again, Pluto always replaces it, and it replaces it with something that's so much better for you, and it replaces it with something that fits and actually works so much better. So it's bringing you blessings through the end of this year and even into the beginning of next year. You're going to notice that all of those things that were once removed, you're going to be now so thankful that they were taken away, because it's going to be replaced by something that fits so much better and something that's so much more in alignment with you. So just allow these transformations to take place, and Pluto direct is going to really start helping these blessings start to pop up in your life like beautiful roses and flowers. So pay attention to that. Pluto direct is going to be beautiful in the sign of Capricorn. So it is really helping bring out the higher, better things and the more committed things in your life. The things that weren't actually fully committed, those got taken away. The things that are actually fully committed are getting stronger, and you'll also get new things that are fully committed. Then on the 9th of the month, we have the full moon in Aries, which is in your 10th house. Full moons are always the closing of certain chapters, so it's like a beautiful time of a closing of a chapter. And in your 10th house, this deals with either your bigger goals or even your career. So there's a certain cycle in your career life or within your goals that is now closing. We may have completed certain things that were like, okay, I'm done that cycle now. I'm done those certain goals. I'm ready for something new. Maybe new stuff is happening in your life to where we're like, I kind of have new goals for myself. You know, I have a new goal for my life. I am entering a new phase. Maybe even a new phase of your career as well. So the full moon is bringing out that sort of energy on October 9th. Then on October 10th, we have Mercury moving into Libra, which is in your 4th house. So Mercury moving into this area. Mercury brings with it more of a busy energy, but since it's direct, it is much more of a balanced sort of busy energy, if that makes sense. And especially since it's in the sign of Libra, I mean, it's a very balanced, busy energy. So when it comes to your home life, you may have a lot more stuff going on. You may be really focused on certain things around your home. You may just be really busy around this time. But I really think that you're also planning new things for your home life. Some of my Cancers, you may have bigger plans where you're like, I need like either new furniture, or maybe I'm thinking about a new house, or maybe I'm thinking about planning something within my home that's going to make things a little bit better or more fun. Some of you may even be making certain purchases to make your home feel better. Some of you may even be making new financial plans or even investing, because Mercury transit the 4th house can also deal with saving more money or even investing it, maybe even buying property, signing certain stuff around the home life, whatever, things like that. Then on the 22nd of the month, we also have Saturn going direct. So look at all these planets going direct now in the month of October. Saturn direct is happening in your 8th house, and Saturn is the planet of challenges and commitments. It's a very committed planet, but it's also one that brings with it the harsh realities of life. Not necessarily harsh, I shouldn't say that, but you know, it brings about the more like realistic kind of stuff. So Saturn direct in your 8th house is kind of this, when it came to making transformations and letting certain stuff go, Saturn's been really helping us reevaluate those issues and those problems. So the 8th house is endings and beginnings. So Cancers, what in your past have you not let go of? What in your past are you still hanging on to that's causing resistance, or it's causing like, you know, you're almost committed. Saturn in this area can show us and reveal to us what we're sort of committed and hanging on to that we're not allowing to transform and change. Like we might be hanging on to certain grudges from the past. We might be hanging on to certain things from the past that we're still holding on to that are causing challenges right now in our life currently. Saturn moving direct over here is really helping us see what that is so that we can begin pushing past that. So that we can maybe also begin taking responsibility for certain things, putting it into our own hands. Saturn is a planet where it is about taking responsibility. So rather than blaming anything else, Saturn reminds us that if we blame anything else outside of ourselves, which of course, like, you know, it's not always ourselves that are causing problems, but Saturn reminds you that the only way to fix a problem is yourself. Because it's about the action that we take now that either fixes an issue or perpetuates an issue. So that's what I mean when I say like taking full responsibility. So even if, you know, somebody's acting like blah, it's not necessarily always our fault, right? But it's what we choose to do with it right now, because the only thing that we have dominion over is ourselves. So rather than being victim to the rest of society, Saturn in the 8th house is going to remind us to move forward. How do I want to take action to move forward to cause the transformation that I want in my life? So what transformations do you want in your life, Cancer? Okay, Saturn direct here is really helping us be more open to newer ideas, especially since it's in the sign of Aquarius. So this is like, let's be open to more. Let's be open to new ideologies that are going to help us transform and get over certain things so that we can move forward without being held back by old stuff, so that we can allow things to transform and change. Then on the 23rd, we have Venus moving into Scorpio, which is in your 5th house. So the 5th house is the house where it deals with our pleasure and leisure, our dating life, and also children. So it encompasses all of those three things. With Venus moving over here, this is a time where my Cancers, you're going to be much more focused on the fun sort of things in life. This is going to be where you focus on a much more fun and lighthearted energy. This is also a great time when it comes to interacting with children and just having a more fun time in that area in general. If you are single, this can also bring about people that you are communicating with, maybe even going on dates with, people expressing interest in you. And if you are in a relationship, Venus in Scorpio, transit in your 5th house, this can bring about much more spicy romantic times. Much more spicy romantic time. So there could be certain things happening around this time where it gets spicy, it gets romantic, and it gets heated, but in a positive way. It'll come about in a positive way with that beautiful Venus sort of energy where it's like loving, you know? So spicy, but in a loving way. Then on the 25th, we're going to have our new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio, which is also in your 5th house. So solar eclipses bring about with it an intense energy. So the new moons are all about a new cycle beginning, and this solar eclipse makes this new cycle kind of like much more intense, right? And being in the sign of Scorpio in your 5th house, this is bringing about a more intense spiciness when it comes to our romantic dating life. So some of us may be like getting more like wanting to add more spice to our life, wanting to add more fun to our life, wanting to make things more pleasurable and exciting. So a lot of my Cancers, I think you're actually going to be focused a lot near the end of October about how to make life more exciting for you. How can we enter this new cycle where we get more fun and pleasure out of life rather than kind of doing our same mundane routines that we're used to? I think a lot of my Cancers, you're going to be introducing new stuff into your life. I think you're going to get into new hobbies. I think you're going to get into new interests to where maybe you come home and you're like, you know what, this excites me and I'm going to add in more of that into my life, and this makes me feel more good, so I'm going to add in more of that. I think you're going to be a lot more focused on those types of things, and you may even be having people surprise you around this time, or maybe even you are being the surpriser because you're like, I just want to add more fun here. So that's going to be something coming around the end of October. Then on the 27th, we have Jupiter re-entering Pisces. It was in Aries, but since it's going retrograde, it's re-entering Pisces, and it's going to go into your 9th house again. And this can be where we're reevaluating our philosophies on life. And I really think that this is because all of my Cancers, I think you're ready for a new cycle when it comes to bringing about more fun and more pleasure into your life. I feel like you're realizing like, hey, like life is meant to be fun. There's this philosophy and this realization that's going to be like, hey, life is meant to be fun and it's meant to be expansive rather than just living life to work, or rather than just living life to kind of live the same day over and over again. Cancers, I think that you're kind of getting a little bit bored with your regular routine, and you are going to be looking for the spice of life once again, and you're also going to be creating the spice of life once again, and it's going to be super nice, and then you're going to be reevaluating how you used to have a perspective on life. Jupiter going back into Pisces, which is in your 9th house, is going to be reevaluating, how have I been holding myself back? How has my perspective been stopping me from living the life that I really want to live? And I think that you're reevaluating your perspective and shifting it. You're literally shifting your perspective of your life and of your world so that you can begin to bring in more pleasure and more fun and invite that in. Then on the 30th, we have Mars going retrograde in the sign of Gemini, which is going to be in your 12th house. Mars going retrograde can bring up more intense emotion for it to be reevaluated and for it to be maybe healed. Being in your 12th house, there might be certain mental things where you're a little bit hard on yourself. Mars going retrograde here in the 12th can really bring about some of our negative self-talk. So if we've been negative in any sort of way towards ourselves, or if our mentality has maybe been harsh lately, where we're all of a sudden just thinking like negative things when we're scrolling on social media, or negative things when we're in public and we're just like, oh, I can't believe she said that, or like, you know, different little things that come up, little judgments that we have. This is going to be kind of highlighted at the end of October for it to be healed, for us to kind of re-look at that and be like, do I really want that sort of mindset? Is that serving me in any way? It's like, wait a minute, maybe I don't want that, right? So being in the sign of Gemini in the 12th house is going to help us really start to replan our mind so that it is nicer and that it takes action correctly. Because Mars can also be such a beautiful planet where we're taking a lot of action and we have a lot of passion. It is the planet of passion. But sometimes we can get so passionate about something where it brings out the emotion of hate, because hate is also another form of passion. It's just the opposite end of the spectrum of positive passion or negative passion. We can be passionately angry about something, or we can be passionately in love about something. It's on the same spectrum. And so Mars, as it goes retrograde, it's going to help us maybe see where we've been passionate in a negative way so that we can transform that and bring it about in a positive way. So instead of being passionately angry about issues in the world, how about we get passionately passionate in a loving way about the change that we can bring in the world? You know what I mean? Same spectrum, but different ends. One is destructive and one is constructive, right? So yes, that is what we have right there for my Cancers for your month of October. That was your astrology for my Cancer suns, moons, and risings. Be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising to get the most all-encompassing horoscope for your zodiac sign. But we're also going to hop into my Cancer's love life. So Cancer suns, moons, and risings, if you want to know about your love life for the month of October, let's hop right into that. Okay, so Cancer's suns, moons, and risings love life for October. We have the Six of Cups being reversed, so letting go of the past is going to be a big thing. Where might be the past still standing in the way of what we desire and what we want? Okay, we might be focused a lot on the past. We may still be allowing the past to affect us right now. Like maybe when it comes to childhood trauma, maybe when it comes to fears that we've accumulated from our past and things like that. That is going to be coming up in October for that to be healed and for us to let go of that so that it no longer comes up and no longer affects us in our relationships, because we don't deserve that, right? And then we also have this could be the one. I think that you are getting in alignment with what you want in your life. And I think you're also, I'm getting this energy of where you're realizing that certain things that you have are very positive. I think that you're also realizing, who you really want in your life. So I think that you're getting rid of stuff that really doesn't serve you. But I'm also hearing this sort of like appreciation that's coming out, this appreciation of your life. This appreciation for the love that you have in your life, whether that be with your friends, your family members, your partner, if you have one, if you're in a relationship. I'm feeling this sort of appreciation. How can we show more appreciation for the people that we have in our life? And I think October is going to really bring about that focus for you. And I think it's going to improve your relationships a lot. Cancer, I am seeing like emotionally getting back to a place of like, I forgot how good this is. Like that's the emotion I'm feeling in this, is like, I forgot to like appreciate this. I forgot to like express my appreciation. And there's an energy here of all of a sudden adoring and showing appreciation, seeing how much your partner does for you if you're in a relationship. If you're not in a relationship, I'm seeing you appreciating all that you have in your life and all that's available to you. And I see you coming to a place of like I want to find my person so that I can give more love. I feel like Cancer, you have a lot of love to give in the month of October. My goodness. And if some of you have been feeling a lack of love, I 100% I'm feeling in this, it is because you need to express more love. Okay? Yes, be open to also receiving love, but be open to receiving love because it's already there. What I'm sort of feeling is like there's already love there, whether that again be from your romantic partner, your friends, your family, or all of the above. There's been love that maybe we haven't been recognizing as often as we should. There's that sort of energy. And I really think October is about expressing that and showing that. And all of a sudden you're going to be like, wait a minute, all the love that I was seeking, that I was wanting,
was literally right here, but I just needed to begin expressing myself more. And then all of a sudden it's like, it gets reciprocated. We're like, oh my God, how could I have like forgotten to like appreciate, you know? And I'm not saying that all of you have forgotten to appreciate, but for some reason that's like a theme that I'm feeling from these cards is like, maybe we haven't been appreciating enough, or maybe we just haven't been vocal about it. So there's this appreciation that's really going to come about, and then it's going to be reciprocated. I'm seeing it being reciprocated, but it comes through what I'm seeing is you doing this first. You may even have somebody come to you offering this sort of like appreciation to you, but I feel like for a lot of you, you're the one sort of initiating it. And it's going to just cause a lot more balance in your life, a lot more harmony, and like, just like a really beautiful energy that's sort of maybe like needed right now in your relationships. And it's going to be freaking beautiful. I'm just seeing like appreciation being sent out, and then it's reciprocated, and it's like really, really nice. We also have stay optimistic about your love life. So if some of you have been sort of like looking at all the negatives lately, this is a reminder to look at the positives, because there's a lot of positives there. We also have express your love, which is exactly what we've been talking about. So it makes total sense that these oracle cards are coming up. Like literally this makes so much sense. There's a reminder here to look at the positives in your love life, because there's a lot of them. And when we begin to appreciate them, they begin to amplify, right? So for our partner, let's say we're in a partnership. I really feel like saying this right now for some reason. But when we're in a partnership, and let's say that we're constantly telling our partner what they need to improve on, and that's what we're focusing on the majority of the time. So the majority of the time we're like, oh, please take out the trash. I'd really appreciate it if you did that. Or, oh, can you please do this? Like, I really need you to do this. I really need you to do that. And you lack in this area. And every time I come out, you don't have this done. And it's really making me mad. And of course, you're valid for all those feelings, right? If that's what's going on. But if we're constantly focusing on that, we're making our partner focus on the areas that they're lacking in, which makes them not feel very good. And, you know, it is important to, you know, point things out that you need. But when we point out in the way of pointing out the lack, when we're like, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, that person is going to focus on that. They're going to focus on what they lack, which makes them feel like they are not enough right now. It makes them feel like they're not doing enough, and it gives anxiety. It gives stress to that person. And it's going to be harder for them to complete what they need to complete. It's going to be harder for them to step up in the ways that they need to step up into, because then they have a lot of anxiety around it, because then they feel like they're walking on eggshells. Whereas if we do things, you know, when we notice that they do something nice, whether that be like they grabbed us a cup of water before bed and they thought about us, or they, you know, took out the trash one day without us asking, or they put the toilet seat down for us, or like whatever it is. Like if they do something small that maybe, you know, yes, they should be doing, and it's maybe expected, but when we actually show appreciation for even those small things, and we're like, oh my God, I really appreciate that you did that. I really noticed that. Now you're giving your partner energy. You're pointing out what you enjoy, and they're like, ooh, they enjoy that. And people are much more likely to act on positive emotion than they are on negative emotion. Taking action from a place of negativity is actually really difficult and really hard and really stressful. And a lot of the times we actually won't even remember to do it, because we associate in our mind, we associate it with negativity. We're now associating taking out the trash with something negative. It's going to be hard for us to take action on that. Whereas when we have this positive reinforcement and we're like, oh my God, I really pleased them when I got them a water before bed. Like, I want to do more of that. I want to do more of that because it was positive. We are much more likely to act on positive emotion. So if we can begin to point out all the positive things and see them more, we'll actually begin to amplify them. And we'll actually begin to allow that to trickle down into other areas. So when it comes to maybe taking out the trash, our partner is much more likely to do it when they see how pleased we are about even the smallest things, because we're like, ooh, if our partner got pleased with us getting them a water, maybe if I do something even more, I'll get more of that pleasure out of them. But it's about expressing that. We must express that, because if we do not express the things that we appreciate about somebody, it's going to go downhill. It is going to be very hard for them to do those things for us that do please us, because they don't really get much of that recognition, and vice versa, of course, vice versa. But yes, basically what I'm seeing is you are bringing about much more appreciation into the relationship, which is actually going to bring out a lot more love and a lot more positivity in those relationships. So it's about expressing what you do appreciate, expressing what you do enjoy is going to be very beneficial in October. And I really think I see a lot of your relationships improving a lot, and it's going to be very reciprocative back to you as well. It's going to be beautiful. Okay, so that is what we have for my beautiful Cancers. I'm sending you so much love. I hope you enjoyed this astrology horoscope for October. Again, don't forget to check out your other sun, moon, and rising signs to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for the month of October. I'm sending you so much love, and hopefully I see you in my next video. Bye. All right, so my Leos, welcome to your part of the astrology prediction for the month of October of 2022. So we start off the month on October 2nd with Mercury finally going direct. It has been retrograde through the month of September. It has been causing delays, miscommunications, all sorts of stuff. And Mercury went retrograde back into your second house, where it is now going to go direct in the sign of Virgo. So there may have been some sort of like work delays or schedule delays when it came to like keeping up with your schedule. You may have noticed that that sort of was out of your control a little bit during the month of September, but October, it is finally going to get back under your control and you're going to feel like you're back on top of things. This is also an area where a lot of Leos have been realizing that maybe we need a little bit more time for comfort and rest and relaxation, and Mercury retrograde has helped us reflect about that over the last month and helped us realize how much we need to maybe implement that a little bit more into our lives and find a little bit more balance when it comes to being really productive and when it comes to actually scheduling time for your own personal rejuvenation, relaxation, and rest. And so Mercury going direct on October 2nd is going to really help us implement those new ideas and concepts that we've been sort of realizing over the last month. Then on the 8th of the month, we also have Pluto going direct. So there's a lot of planets going direct in the month of October. And so on the 8th, Pluto goes direct in the sign of Capricorn, which is in your 6th house. So since Pluto has been kind of here and ruminating in your 6th house for a while, it has been helping you transform your health a lot and your schedule and routine. So it's kind of interesting that Mercury is also reflecting this a little bit for my Leos. And then Pluto is also kind of touching on this area and helping us transform and heal. So there may be certain wounds from the past that Pluto has been really helping us heal, especially throughout its retrograde that happened for the past few months. And so for the past few months, we maybe been realizing and reflecting on certain things that we just need to let go of, certain things that we need to heal. Otherwise, we're just going to carry them with us for a long time to come. We may also be realizing how we want to be of service to the world and what we really want to do with our time and our energy and our resources. So my Leos, what do you actually want to do with those things? What kind of impact do you want to have? And Pluto going direct in Capricorn in your 6th house also is putting a focus on your health as well. So for my Leos, there's been a lot of health transformations happening. My Leos, suns, moons, and risings, all of you, there has been some health transformations going on where we're realizing that we maybe need to transform our diet in order to serve us better. We maybe need to transform our exercise and workout routine so that we can get healthier, because Pluto, whenever it's in the 6th house, it causes major transformations here. So we're going to notice certain things coming up that need to be healed in us. And this is coming up so that we can heal them. And Pluto, even though it's sort of seen as a malefic planet that points out all of these things that we need to shift and change, Pluto also brings us blessings. Wherever it transits, whatever it takes away from us, whatever it's trying to transform, it brings us blessings to replace those things. So for my Leos, if you have been noticing certain things have been out of your control, or it feels like either health, schedule, routine, your environment, things like that have been kind of a bit out of your control lately, that is Pluto going through here, taking away all of these old beliefs, all of these old things in our life that no longer serve us or that haven't been serving us, And Pluto is now replacing them with stuff that will serve us. So now we're going to do some higher learning about what it is we really want to do, how we want to spend our time, and what we're going to do for our health. So Pluto is really helping us do that. And so since it's going direct on the 8th of October, it's going to really help you stick to certain goals, because this is in the sign of Capricorn right now. So this is about commitment to your health, commitment to a healthy schedule and routine where we have a nice balance between rest and relaxation. And we also feel like we are being productive enough as well, because this can also highlight our productivity. Are we being overly productive, or are we being underproductive? Are we sort of saying we're going to do something and then not fully committing to it? Because Pluto is going to highlight these things greatly, and it has been highlighting them greatly over the past few months. And now's the time for all of that to start going direct, and for our productivity to come into balance, and for us to, get our ish together. So Pluto's been really helping my Leos do that for the past few years, and it's highlighting it over the past few months, and now it's going direct and helping us implement our realizations in this area. Then on the 9th, we have the full moon in Aries, which is going to be in your 9th house. Full moons are closing of certain cycles. So there's been a cycle in your 9th house, which is our philosophies, the way that we are expanding our perspective on the world, what we are currently learning, what we're interested in. And this full moon is closing out an old cycle for you. So you may notice that old interests are no longer really resonating with you. You may notice that certain areas that you used to want to expand your life, maybe we're completing those certain things, we're putting the finishing touches on them, and we're like, okay, I'm ready for the next expansion, I'm ready for the next cycle in my life. So it's going to be happening on the 9th of October. Then on the 10th, we have Mercury moving into Libra. So it went retrograde and now it's direct, moving back into Libra. And this is going to be affecting your 3rd house. This can be where we start to make new friends, new connections. People seem to want to communicate with us. We may have people trying to flirt with us. We may be in a little bit more of a flirty mood ourselves. So my Leos, mid-October, I would not be surprised if your flirty persona starts coming out, or if you start socializing a little bit more as well. This can be when we're getting a lot of invitations to events or other different things that we are excited to explore and do. So that's around the 10th. Then on the 22nd, we have Saturn going direct. So like I said, there's a lot of planets going direct finally in the month of October, and it's all happening kind of at once in one month, which is really nice. So Saturn going direct in the sign of Aquarius, which is in your 7th house. This is helping you move forward in relationships. When Saturn went retrograde in your 7th house, this has been highlighting where we maybe lack certain commitment in our love life when it comes to our responsibilities or how much time we're spending with people. This could also highlight certain challenges that we've had to face in our intimate relationships. So whether that be our really close friendships or our really close partnerships, there has been certain challenges and hurdles where we've needed to step up our maturity game. We've needed to come back to a very realistic place, and we need to, solidify ourselves a little bit more, create a more solid foundation in this area. And Saturn retrograde really helped highlight those areas in our relationships where we need a more solid foundation. We might need a little bit more commitment or a little bit more maturity to have maybe tougher conversations or overcome certain challenges in this area. And Saturn direct is now us implementing all of that, and things are going to start to move a lot smoother in this area. And the retrograde just highlighted those things that we need to be aware of, and now it looks like those are going to be implemented and beginning to smooth out and fix around the 22nd and beyond in October. Then on the 23rd, we have Venus moving into Scorpio, which is in your 4th house. When Venus transits the 4th, we are feeling a lot more loving in our home environment. We are feeling a lot more comfortable. This can also be where we start saving more money. We feel like money is coming in that we're able to put away for a rainy day, because Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. It's comforting, it's sensual, it's passionate. And being in the 4th house, this is about our home, our security, identity and our foundation. So we're adding a little bit more love into this area. We're feeling really good. Some of my Leos, you may be really interested in making your home more comfortable. You may be really interested in making your financial world a little bit more comfortable. You may be interested in finding a new path where it comes to settling down and creating a permanent space for yourself. And it just looks like you may be investing in those things. Venus also transit the 4th, can be when we're actually investing some of our money as well, and stuff like that. It can also be, since it's in the sign of Scorpio, this could be where we transform some of our finances in a certain way. We might be like, you know what, I think I'm gonna maybe start a side business and open up a new thing where I can bring in more money, or there could be certain ideas like this coming in around this time. Then on the 25th, we have a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio, which is also in your 4th house. So the new moon solar eclipse, this is a much more intense energy than a regular new moon, because this time it is a solar eclipse, which just intensifies that type of energy. And that's when the moon moves in front of the sun and covers the sun. And that is going to be an intense time for my Leos. This is in your 4th house, so this is going to be a brand new beginning and a new cycle happening within your foundation, within your home life. This could even be with your family as well. And I also want to mention, because Venus is here transiting this area, this can also be where we're starting to let go of certain grudges that we have with our family, or with the people that we live with. We might have to let go of certain maybe grudges, or letting go of the past a little bit, so we can transform and heal that to something more positive. And this new moon solar eclipse is allowing a new cycle to begin here as well. So when it comes to our home life, this is time for a new cycle where we're no longer upset with ourselves and our choices. We're no longer trying to be upset with other people who are in our family and things like that. And this can be when we're starting to clear all of that, so that we can begin a new cycle around this time, so that it can be positive and healthy with a better foundation moving forward. Then on the 27th, we're going to have Jupiter re-enter Pisces. Jupiter has been retrograde, and now it's going to be re-entering the sign of Pisces, which is going back into your 8th house. Jupiter moving back over here is the emphasis on more transformation. So there's been a lot happening for Leos during the month of October, Leo suns, moons, and risings, where it's all about transformation. There's some aspect of yourself that is really calling you to make a transformation in yourself. There's a new you that really wants to be created and focused on, while letting go of maybe some of your current self that no longer really serves you, or is a little bit maybe outdated. You know, you've been growing a lot, and Jupiter retrograde going back into the 8th house is highlighting the growth that you've done. And Jupiter retrograde over here is really about expanding into that new self and shedding the old stuff that's holding you back. If you have certain boundaries or restrictions on yourself, or beliefs, or this old self that didn't think that they were worthy of more, Jupiter retrograde over here is really calling you to go through a full metamorphosis. It's like the caterpillar realizing that they become a butterfly. Jupiter retrograde is that moment where they realize, like, wait a minute, I'm not a caterpillar anymore. I have wings. I need to stop acting like a caterpillar. So Jupiter retrograde back into the 8th is literally that. And it is finalizing the transformation, where we might not have realized, like, hey, I grew wings. Maybe it's time for me to utilize them and learn how to fly because I grew the wings. Now it's time to learn how to use them. So Jupiter retrograde back into the 8th is all about that. That is happening on the 27th of October. Then on the 30th, we have Mars beginning its retrograde in the sign of Gemini, and this is going to be in your 11th house. Whenever Mars goes retrograde, it can highlight maybe where we have some frustrations, or maybe where we have a lack of action that maybe we need to reevaluate. But there's something here where it's either a lack of action, or there's maybe an internal frustration that needs to kind of come to the surface and be realized and healed. And being in your 11th house, this can deal with our friendships, but this can also deal with our bigger purpose or the rest of the world, certain frustrations that we might have with society or humanity, the world, our close relationships, like our friendships and our acquaintances. And Mars going retrograde over here is kind of maybe highlighting where we may have certain kind of frustrations here, so that we can sort of heal them and bring them back into balance. There could be some important conversations that you've been putting off when it comes to conversations with your friends, your coworkers, or things like that. And Mars retrograde over here is bringing up the fact that maybe we need to learn how to have these harder conversations, but to also sort of like cool down prior and to sort of get everything straight so that we can take productive action rather than destructive action. So that's going to be a highlight of the end of October there. So that is what we have for my Leos for the month of October, my Leo suns, moons, and risings. Now, if you are interested in getting to know your love life for the month of October, let's go ahead and hop right into that. Okay, so my Leo love life for October, we already have a card coming out. We have stay optimistic about your love life. I think this one recently came up for another group as well. So one of the things that I'm noticing here is learning how to let go of the past because it might be influencing what you're expecting in your future love life. If you've dealt with hardship in the past, some of my Leos, you may still be kind of expecting like, oh, that's just what I should expect in my love life. You know, you may have tied a sort of belief around it where it's common to have those certain hardships that you've experienced, or that, you know, you're always going to experience them with your partner or something, or that's just the way things are. What I'm seeing for the month of October is renewing this and letting go. And it makes sense because we have so much going on with your transformations during the month of October as well. And so I think a huge thing for you is how to become more open to the fact that beautiful things exist too, and you deserve more beauty in your love life as well. You don't deserve to constantly go through the same old hardships that you have in the past. And just because you went through those in the past doesn't mean that it's going to be part of your future. And it's interesting because we also have the Four of Wands being reversed as well. And this talks about your foundation. Maybe you're realizing that you've been setting yourself up a little bit for failure, or maybe even self-sabotaging certain things in your love life because you're just expecting them to turn out bad anyway. And if so, this is about getting back to a positive place and realizing that whatever foundation you build is what you're going to get. So if you can build a foundation that's super loving and celebratory, romantic and fun and exciting, that'll be what you get. But if you're building the opposite of that and you don't believe that that'll happen for you, or if you believe that, oh, because I've experienced this hardship, it means that I'll experience it again, and I'm probably never going to have like the, fairy tale romances that there are. And the truth is that everything under the sun exists. Everything on that spectrum exists. So it really depends what we focus on and what we expect. Because when we have certain expectations, and if we expect things to go really bad or really wrong, we might be putting out that energy and actually unconsciously creating that in our life. So if you want to create a more positive love life, what I'm really seeing is the month of October is about transforming your expectations, transforming your past, and also the completion of a cycle, and realizing that there are certain cycles in life, but we can also close out ones that we do not like. We can put the finishing touches on it and say, okay, I'm done that, I'm done learning that. And the world talks about completing a chapter of your life. I really think for my Leos, you are completing a chapter in your love life. You are completing a chapter where you've done that learning. You don't need to do it again. So it depends. Like, are you going to start back at the finish line, or are you going to jump to a new pattern, a new cycle with new expectations and a new you? Because I'm really seeing a new you coming out. But you're going to have to jump out of your current cycle if you don't want to repeat the current cycle. You're going to have to jump out of it, create a new foundation to build upon with new expectations, new desires, and new goals that you're wanting to reach. And putting that out there as your expectation is going to serve you a lot more. And staying optimistic about your love life is going to serve you so much more than being pessimistic or negative about it or having negative expectations. So that is what we have for my Leos for your love life in October. That is going to be sort of the highlight sort of theme, is overcoming that so that you can begin this brand new, much more optimistic, much more positive cycle in your love life. So my Leo suns, moons, and risings, I hope you enjoyed this horoscope for October. Don't forget to check out your other sun, moon, and rising sign to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for October. I'm sending you all of my love, and hopefully I see you in my next video.
All right, so my Virgo babies, welcome to your part of the October 2022 horoscope. This is for my Virgos, suns, moons, and risings. So let's get into what you can expect for October. So right on October 2nd is when we have Mercury going direct. It has been retrograde through the month of September, and now on October 2nd, it is finally going direct, which is amazing. Mercury retrograde usually is like revising things, reviewing things, replanning things, all that kind of stuff. It can indicate that we go through delays or even miscommunications and stuff like that. So Mercury going direct is going to be great. And especially since Mercury is your ruling planet and it has also been in your zodiac sign, in the sign of Virgo, it went back into Virgo. So this has been affecting my Virgos quite a bit. You might notice that for yourself, there's maybe been certain delays in your own goals. There may have been certain things that you're realizing about yourself where you are replanning and revising and reviewing old things that you're now wanting to change or make better. So the great thing about Mercury retrograde is that it does offer us a time for revision and reflection so that we can actually make things a little bit better and improve them. But Mercury direct is also really great because now we're moving forward on those new revisions that we've made. So Virgo, I really believe that during this last month, you've done a lot of personal growth, like so much. There may have been certain things where you've had to go back a little bit and take a couple steps backward in order to start taking steps forward again. But this has been really helpful for you because it's going to offer a lot of insight for yourself. And you may notice that things are going to start happening a lot quicker during the month of October. Things are going to start moving fast in a positive way and in a positive direction for you, especially starting off right on the 2nd of October. Things are going to really start to improve and move forward, and those revisions that we made are really going to benefit us. Then on the 8th of the month, we have Pluto also going direct. There's actually going to be a lot of planets going direct during this month, but Pluto direct in the sign of Capricorn, which is in your 5th house, is really helping us transform on a deep level when it comes to how we like to have fun. What are our leisure activities? That has been transforming for Virgos a lot over even the past, couple years, and majorly over the last few months. And right now in the month of October, it is going to be majorly transformative as well. The 5th house is about our pleasure, leisure, romantic and dating life, and also children. It all encompasses all of those types of things. And Pluto, since it's been, in this area for you for a couple years now, this has been something where we have been transforming who we are. You've also been transforming your self-image. You've been transforming your self-worth. You've been through a lot of different things for the past couple years that have been revealing to you what your self-worth actually is. And I feel like you've been majorly building that. And this is also something where you're majorly also figuring out who you are and what you actually enjoy, rather than, going for things that were like, oh, I could get used to that, or like, sure, I'll do that, I'll enjoy that. But it's like, what do you really enjoy though, my Virgos? What do you really want to be spending your time doing rather than settling, for other stuff? So this is really a time where you're supposed to go through a huge major self-transformation, because the 5th house can also deal with our spotlight, us being in the spotlight. You've been going through this major transformation about figuring out who you are majorly, and that has been transforming a lot. I believe that you've done some of the most major transformations of your life in the past couple years. And the past few months where Pluto was retrograde, this has been a huge time of reflecting on your past self and sort of realizing wow, I've come a long way and I have made tons of transformations. With Pluto now going direct, these transformations are going to begin to move forward for you, and these transformations are going to actually have more tangible, applicable applications in your life because you're really starting to implement them in a more permanent and sustainable way as Pluto goes direct here. And Pluto, even though it kind of removes stuff from our lives and kind of makes us feel like we're getting things taken away from us, Pluto always replaces it with a blessing. Pluto only removes the things from our life that are no longer serving us and no longer serving our higher purpose or our higher good. And even though we may not see it at the time, we may be like, oh my God, why is all this stuff leaving my life? What? And Pluto's just trust me, it's fine. I'm going to replace it with something much better. And so as
we go through the rest of the year, you're going to notice major blessings begin coming in your life, especially if you've gone through some losses lately in your romantic life or in your pleasure, leisure life, or within your, those types of areas of your life. If you've gone through losses, Pluto is going to be blessing you, bringing you blessings in this area, where you are going to have so much more fun than you've ever had. You might actually begin dating somebody very significant in the future, and Pluto's going to stay in Capricorn for the next couple of years and do a couple more retrogrades during those 2 years. And it's going to really help you kind of figure out more about what you really want in your life and what you enjoy doing and what is compatible for you. This is figuring out what is compatible for you when it comes to your fun, your romantic life, all the above. So that's happening on the 8th. Then on the 9th of the month, we have the full moon in Aries, which is going to be taking place in your 8th house. The full moons are closing of cycles, and being in your 8th house, this is closing a cycle of like major transformation for you. So now you're finally closing that chapter. I think you've done your growth for the year, my Virgos. I mean, growth is really never done because there's always room to grow, but you have done the major work for this year. Congratulations. I'm giving you a little clap. This is now the closing of that cycle of going through all of these major transformations. And now you're finally ready to step into the new cycle that you've been cultivating and creating for yourself. This full moon in Aries is really about jumping into that new cycle, but also closing out all of those chapters of us being in our cocoon the entire year. I really feel like there's been so many things where you've been in a cocoon doing a transformation, doing a metamorphosis, but now it's time for you to kind of open up. It's time for that new cycle to kind of begin. So that is happening on the 9th with that full moon in Aries for my Virgos. Then on the 10th, we have Mercury moving into Libra. So it's going direct again. Now it's moving back into Libra, which is in your 2nd house. You are going to become so much more productive, my love. So by mid-October, my Virgos, you are going to become so much more productive. Your schedule feels like it is fun, it is exciting. You have a lot of things going on, but at the same time, you are staying on top of it and it is in balance for you and you're feeling good about it. I think that when it comes to planning and creating more balance in your life, for pleasure and also work and all of the other things that we want to do, it is going to feel so much easier, so much more in flow for you than it ever has throughout this year. I think it's going to start moving forward really well, and that stage for you is beginning in the month of October. Then on the 22nd, we also have Saturn going direct. It has been retrograde as well for the past few months, and now it is going direct in the sign of Aquarius, which is your 6th house. This has been where we have been noticing that we really need to commit to our health. The 6th house is our health, our schedule and routine, the environment, and our higher purpose, and also healing. When Saturn went retrograde, this was really highlighting parts of ourselves that are not healed. This was highlighting parts of ourselves where maybe we lacked self-worth. This was highlighting parts of ourselves where we lacked commitment on the things that we really wanted to do. So where have we fallen short on those commitments? Where have we said we're going to do something and then we do it a couple times and then we stop? If so, Saturn retrograde was really highlighting these areas, and Saturn direct is like, let's commit to those things we said we were going to commit to. And let's also commit to a higher self-worth. Let's heal those old wounds so that we can actually feel like we are our best self, so that we can feel internally like we have a lot of self-worth. Saturn direct is really going to help implement these new beliefs and ideals for ourselves to help us feel a lot better. And it's going to come heavily through your commitments. What are you going to commit to? And the 6th house is about those healthy commitments, your schedule, figuring that out, getting it, in a committed way. There's certain things that I believe, my Virgos, you've been wanting to add to your schedule, and you keep telling yourself that I'm going to add it to my schedule. Saturn direct is the time to do that. Because if you don't do it, Saturn direct is also going to make a lot of challenges in that area. But if you do commit to those things, Saturn is going to make it easy. And it's like, okay, then you're going to get the results. Saturn promises results, but it only promises results through commitment. So we must commit to the things that we are really desiring to commit to. And Saturn reminds us of that. So that's happening on the 27th or the 22nd of the month. And then on the 23rd, we have Venus moving into Scorpio, and this is going to be in your third house. Venus moving here can be where it is time for us to let go of, grudges or bad tastes in our mouth, especially being in your third house. This deals with communication, people in your life, things like that. We may be holding on to like, oh, he said this or she said that, or this bothers me or this triggers me. This is a time for healing those triggers, especially around communication. This is a time of transforming, maturing, and renewing and bringing more love out in your communication. Bringing more openness and love in general, because Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. This is a time to really begin to transform that, be more open, and also begin to transform even your own internal mind, because the third house can also be your own mentality. So if there's certain things in your own mentality that seem to be negative or seem to be like a stinger, or things that just feel harsh internally in yourself, this is a time to heal that. This is a time to implement beautiful self-talk. This is a time where when Venus moves into here, it is like, let's transform our patterns of thinking. That is going to highlight your patterns of thinking in order for them to beautify and become something a lot more positive and uplifting and gentle as well. So that is happening on the 23rd. And then on the 25th, we also have a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio, which is also in your third house. This is a brand new cycle opening up for you mentally, my Virgos, a brand new cycle mentally. Any sort of new moon is a brand new cycle. Being a solar eclipse, it even intensifies all of this. So the new moon solar eclipse that's happening on the 25th, this is going to be something that really opens up that new cycle for you when it comes to your mentality, the way that you communicate. You may even notice at this time that you have new goals with communication that you're really wanting to meet as well. So there's just a whole lot of growth and transformations for my Virgos in general around this time. You may even around this time get like a really big, important, more intense text message or conversation with somebody that is healing though. It's going to be healing. It's not going to be, not healing. It's going to be something that's healing, because this is with Venus here as well. This is going to be something that's loving and healing for you. Then on the 27th, we have Jupiter going and re-entering Pisces. It's been retrograde. Now it's going to re-enter the sign of Pisces, which is going into your 7th house. So Jupiter here, this is showing us where we were maybe stuck in certain relationships, or where we have been hitting certain barriers and walls and where we couldn't expand anymore. So Jupiter is going to show us why we weren't able to expand more in our relationships, or why we've kind of hit a brick wall in certain relationships, whether that be friendships or romantic partnerships. Jupiter is going to show us what has been holding us back and what has been stopping us in these areas as Jupiter re-enters Pisces, which is re-entering your 7th house. This is going to show that. Jupiter retrograde allows us to sort of see maybe what's been holding us back from fully expanding into more. And Jupiter is the planet of abundance, so it also shows us all of these things so that we can begin to expand, so that we can begin to become abundant. And as Jupiter goes direct before the end of the year, this is going to be something that also allows you to expand in your relationships so much more. Then on the 30th, we're going to have Mars going retrograde in the sign of Gemini, and this is going to be in your 10th house. So Mars retrograde highlights where we might be lacking on our action, or where we might be getting frustrated or overheated in certain things. Being in your 10th house though, this deals with your career or your bigger goals. Virgo, where have you been not taking enough action on your bigger goals? Because Mars retrograde is going to highlight that. Some of you may have even been overworking, certain Virgos. So certain Virgos, you've been overworking, and Mars retrograde is going to highlight the fact that you're overworking yourself. But for certain Virgos, when it comes to certain goals, you've been not taking action, and Mars retrograde is going to help us reflect and revise that action, or maybe we're noticing that the action we are taking isn't producing the results that we want. And Mars retrograde also helps us see why we're not getting the results that we wanted and how we maybe need to revise that action in order to get the results that we really do want. This is also about recultivating passion. Some of my Virgos, you've been losing passion on your things that you want to do. Mars retrograde is going to help us reflect and revise and recreate more passion in these areas. And let me tell you, this passion is going to come greatly from your own mind, your mentality, and when it comes to learning and collaborating and communicating with others, since Mars is in Gemini. And so this is going to heavily rely on, are you being curious enough? Gemini is about curiosity. So this is about reawakening your curiosity for your goals so that you can actually have that passion and drive and motivation behind them to get them done. So that is what we have for my Virgos, suns, moons, and risings for the month of October for your astrology prediction. Now we're going to get into my Virgo's love life. So Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. If you want to know about your love life for the month of October, let's hop right into it. Okay, Virgo, suns, moons, and risings, love life. Okay, so we have the Eight of Swords being reversed, which is actually a great card to come in reverse. So your love life, you are beginning to learn how to open up so much more, especially when it comes to communicating what's on your mind, and also when it comes to setting proper boundaries so that you don't need to stay in protection mode. Some of my Virgos, you've been staying deeply in protection mode, but it's because we haven't learned how to set proper boundaries to where we feel like we can open up fully. So I believe that the month of October is going to be a big healing month for my Virgos in your love life when it comes to expressing yourself and when it comes to opening yourself back up again. I also see October is going to be a big month for opening yourself back up again and getting over fears or blocks that have been holding you back in your love life. I really see my Virgos, you're opening up a lot more and you're becoming more comfortable to actually speak your mind or speak your emotions or feel your emotions even. That's going to be something that is coming up big time, is a feeling of safety and a feeling of being open. Okay, so let's see what else we get here for Virgos. We have the card of very soon. Ooh. If some of you have been craving more romance or more love in your life, this is a card that can indicate that it's coming very soon. For those of you that are in a relationship, I see this being greatly connected to your ability to open up emotionally and mentally and with your communication. I'm seeing more romance entering your life and like a comfort coming in. There's a comfort in the month of October coming for my Virgos when it comes to opening yourself up. If you're single, this could be the comfort of a friend that's really reassuring you about certain things that maybe you are fearing right now. But I'm definitely seeing, comfort coming in from somebody close to you. Regardless if you're single or in a relationship, there's like nice comfort coming in, there's reassurance and an ability to open up more and to feel your emotions more, which I believe is going to really set you free in your love life, which is going to draw more like love into your life, because when we're closed off, we can't really like receive love, right? We can't even feel it or necessarily even give it. But when we begin to open up, we open up our ability to give and receive as well. Let's see, and then the last card we have is true love. My Virgos, there is beautiful love in your life. I believe that if you are single, this is talking about you have really good friends in your life that can really help support you at this time. And true love is manifesting for you. For those of you that are single, true love is manifesting for you. It is there. And as you begin to open up, you're going to begin attracting it more than ever. For those of you that are already in a relationship, I see this openness happening during October, and I see you getting closer with your partner, like very much closer with your partner, because you're actually really opening up. And I see this support coming through for my Virgos. So that looks beautiful. I hope you enjoyed this reading for the month of October, my lovely Virgos, suns, moons, and risings. Be sure to check out your other horoscopes for your other sun, moon, or rising sign if you have not already. All those links will be down below. Thank you so much for being here and watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully I see you in my next video. Bye!
Hello, my beautiful Libras, and welcome to your part of the astrology prediction for the month of October. So this is for my Libras, suns, moons, and risings. Welcome. On October 2nd, we have Mercury going direct. It has been retrograde through the month of September. It has been a lot, to say the least. There has been delays, there has been miscommunications, there has been revisions, revising, replanning, all sorts of stuff like that. That is what Mercury retrograde does, although it does have its benefits even when it is in retrograde. But now it is finally moving direct in the sign of Virgo, which is in your 12th house. And as Mercury moves direct over here, you're going to notice that your mind thinks a lot clearer. Things become a lot clearer to you. When it was retrograde and it moved back over here, we may have been rethinking about certain things. We may have been reviewing certain stuff. We may have been replanning our vision for our future and rethinking about it and revising that plan. And now that is moving forward over here, those plans are now implementing and you're able to move forward on those, and it feels like things are figured out. There's definitely a feeling in the beginning of October for all of my Libras where it feels like things have been figured out, they have been sorted out, and they are now being implemented. Then on the 8th of the month, we have Pluto also going direct. There's actually going to be a few planets going direct in the month of October, but Pluto direct in the sign of Capricorn in your 4th house. Pluto has been in your 4th house for a while now, my Libras, and this has been causing a lot of shifts and transformations around your home life. You may be noticing that your foundation has been changing a lot. Your sense of security has been changing a lot. Maybe even your bank and finances have been fluctuating a lot, or even your home life in general, your actual home that you live in. This is something that is going to continue to fluctuate and transform over the next 2 years, because this is really helping you figure out where you want to root yourself and where you want to plant yourself. Pluto removes things that no longer work for you or serve you, and it also replaces them with things that will be serving you. So a lot of the times with Pluto, we think it's like this malefic planet that causes major transformation and it's like, and it's out of our control, but it also actually brings us blessings. And so since it's going direct now, in your 4th house, you may be noticing certain blessings happening here and there throughout the next few months in your life, and Pluto will be replacing any sort of hardship in this area with some blessings coming in for you within your 4th house. This could be things that you are rooting yourself to. This could be new business ideas. This could be more money coming in, more money going into your savings account. This could be positive transformations around your home life as well. And Pluto again is going to stay in the sign of Capricorn for the next 2 years before it moves over to Aquarius. And so there's going to be even more transformations happening around your home life over the next 2 years, and also your general foundation. But these are all going to be positive because Pluto again makes sure that it removes anything that no longer serves you and replaces it with things that will serve you and will benefit you moving forward. So Pluto is actually a very positive planet in that way. So we have that going on. Pluto goes direct on the 8th. It is going to cause things to start moving forward within your home life and your foundation and your sense of security. Then on the 9th of the month, we have the full moon in Aries, which is in your 7th house. And this is closing a cycle of relationships for you. This is closing an old chapter, an old cycle. Being in the sign of Aries, this is now time to move forward in a new beginning and implement, the sense of maturity that we've been learning in our relationships. The full moon is all about the endings of a cycle. So you are ending your certain cycle in relationships because you have learned a lot and you have grown a lot from this. And I think that there's going to be a lot of reflection in this area, and then being able to be almost like more mature or like a higher version of yourself because of that when it comes to your relationship. So there's no more repeating of old cycles here for my Libras. Then on the 10th of the month, we have Mercury moving into your sign of Libra, which is of course in your 1st house. And as Mercury moves back over here, this is going to be a time where you begin replanning all sorts of stuff around yourself. There may be a lot of things going on personally for you where you're making plans and making progress on personal things. And this can also be when you catch up on certain errands. This could be when certain plans come through where maybe we're taking a little bit of trips here and there, exciting things going on, exciting events happening in your personal life. You may even be cultivating and planning for certain things for yourself on a personal level as well. That'll begin moving forward at this time.
On the 22nd of the month, we also have Saturn going direct as well in the sign of Aquarius, which is in your 5th house. The 5th house is the house of dating and romance. It is the house of children, and it is the house of leisure and pleasure. So it encompasses all of those different things. And as Saturn was retrograde over here, we may have felt the need to revise things. We may have felt the need to review a lot from our past to learn and grow from it. We were learning a lot about what we want to commit to versus what we don't want to commit to. We were learning a lot about our boundaries as well, since Saturn heavily rules boundaries. So we've been learning for the past few months now all about our boundaries when it comes to our dating life, when it comes to our leisure life as well. So are we spending too much time on leisure stuff? Are we spending not enough time on leisure stuff? Do we have proper boundaries when it comes to our leisure activities? Do we have proper boundaries when it comes to relationships? Do we have proper boundaries when it comes to our children, if you have any? So that is what Saturn retrograde was teaching you over the past few months. And now Saturn's moving direct, where we can really begin to implement all those new things that we've been learning. And you're going to notice that you are creating more boundaries for yourself when it comes to your dating life. You are creating more commitment and more boundaries when it comes to your leisure activities and what you are allowing yourself to do, and what you are spending your time on, basically, and how your time is distributed. Saturn comes with it a sense of maturity. And so a lot of my Libras, you've been learning a lot more maturity when it comes to your dating life, your leisure life, and your children as well, again, if you have any. So Saturn direct is going to help us move forward in these areas and to actually feel like things are shifting, but in a much better way and a much more responsible way. There's an energy of responsibility when it comes to Saturn as well. So as it moves direct, there's a new sense of responsibility in this area. Then on the 23rd, we have Venus moving into the sign of Scorpio, which is going to be in your 2nd house. And this is going to be where we're transforming some of our finances. Libra, I think you are realizing that maybe we're wanting to create new financial plans. Venus being in the 2nd house is always when we are focusing more on saving money, but it can also indicate where we are planning for certain bigger things in our life as well. There may be certain bigger investments that you want to make in the future that you may be planning for. Being in the sign of Scorpio, this can be where we are transforming some of our finances. This could also be where we are doing some investing in the future, or at least planning where we want to maybe invest in the future. So Venus moving over here is actually really good for money, and maybe we're also reviewing maybe where we made some of those more negative choices, because Scorpio is where we transform our negative choices into positive ones. So Venus transiting this area, this is now your time. This is going to be, by the end of October, you're going to be more focused on, what was maybe not the best decision in the past, and how can I change that to make proper decisions in the future to meet my goals that I really want to financially and materially. So that is happening on the 23rd. Then on the 25th, we have a new moon solar eclipse, which is also in the sign of Scorpio, which is in your 2nd house. New moon solar eclipses are much more intense versions of the new moon, because this is when we have a new moon, but it is in front of the sun solar eclipsing, because it eclipses the sun basically. So this is going to intensify that new moon energy, and this is going to be in your 2nd house. Being in your 2nd house, this is going to be a new cycle beginning financially for you. This is going to be a new cycle beginning where you feel comfortable with your finances. So Libras, you are really starting to figure out what is comfortable for you, what makes me feel like I have a larger security net and more reliability and more safety in my life. This is also when we possibly start a new cycle in our career as well. So we may be expanding ourselves in certain ways in our career. And this can also indicate that we are opening up a new world materially for ourselves as well. So there may be new sort of like material plans that you have for yourself. Some of you may become very minimal. Some of you may become a little bit more like responsible, or some of you may just have new plans in general that you are making progress towards attaining. Then on the 27th, we have Jupiter re-entering Pisces. It has been retrograde in the sign of Aries. Now it's moving back into the sign of Pisces, which is going to be in your 6th house. As Jupiter enters back into the 6th house, this is where we're going to be revising our time.
and our schedule. This is going to be where we're revising our health as well, because we may be noticing that some of our certain goals that we're wanting to expand into maybe are a little bit imbalanced, or they are, there's certain challenges standing in the way. As Jupiter goes retrograde back over here, it is going to help us review and reflect on what those certain obstacles are and how we can overcome them when it comes to our time management, when it comes to our health management, when it comes to other goals that we have for ourselves and for what we desire to do. And Jupiter is going to highlight what those current blockages are or limitations so that we can overcome them and we can break through them moving forward. Then on the 30th, we have Mars going retrograde in the sign of Gemini, and this is happening in your 9th house. As Mars goes retrograde here, anytime that there's a Mars retrograde, it highlights either where we're taking too much action, or it highlights where we're not taking enough action, because it's all about action. So it highlights either where there's an imbalance there, or it even highlights certain frustrations that we might be harboring within. In the 9th house, this can deal with our perspective and our perception on the world. Being also in the sign of Gemini, this is mentally. So mentally, there may be certain things that are frustrating you when it comes to how you want to expand yourself. There may be certain limitations that you feel are kind of standing in your way when it comes to how you desire to expand, but this comes down to your ability to take action. That is the secret of Mars. Mars's secret to attaining anything is through action. Mars is not like a planning mental planet. Mars is not like, a dreamy planet. Mars is about, let's cultivate the energy and let's move. Let's make moves here. So there's certain things that you are going to be reflecting on that you may realize, like, oh, I need to take action on this. I need to do this. But Mars also reminds us not to harbor in anger and not to harbor in frustration, because then it kind of just festers there, and then we usually have like blow-ups or things like that. So Mars going retrograde also highlights maybe where we need to release old emotion in a productive way. Mars helps us release things. Mars retrograde helps us release things and reminds us that we should release it in a productive way, such as working out, because Mars, frustration and anger and working out go hand in hand, because it really helps us release things in a positive way. And that's what Mars retrograde will be teaching you, is how to let go of certain things in a positive way, how to release steam in a positive way as Mars goes retrograde in the 9th house. And this is also majorly on your ability to expand yourself and also your perspective on the world. So you may be actually reviewing and revising your current perspective and also some of your current goals about how you desire to expand. Those are going to be you're going to be reflecting on those and coming up with plans and ideas that are actually going to really help you moving forward so that you can expand more than ever. And it's interesting that that's happening around the same time that we have Jupiter re-entering Pisces, which is in your 6th house, which is kind of also talking about the same sort of like action-oriented sort of mindsets here and whatnot. We also have the card engagement coming out. I'm going to tell you guys what that means in a second. But first off, that was your horoscope for the month of October. If you are curious about your love life for the month of October, let's go ahead and hop right into that now. Okay, so like I said, we had engagement pop out at first when it comes to your love life. So I really think that you are learning how to be more attentive, learning how to give more time. You may also find that if you're in a relationship, your partner is giving you more time. They're more engaged in the conversation. There could also be a higher level of commitment happening in your love life in the month of October. So if you're currently talking to somebody, maybe you guys are going to take that to the next level. If you are currently dating someone, you guys might make plans for the future where you're really taking it to the next level. I also just like made my little eye gem fall off because my eyebrow was itchy and now my gem is off, but okay. Anyway, I'm not even gonna cut that out of the video. That's just gonna stay there. But anyway, engagement can indicate a higher level of commitment in your love life. For those of you that are single, you may find that you're more engaged in your love life, such as you may be focused on kind of creating
more of a love life. You may be more engaged and more focused on it during the month of October and sort of learning from it. And there could even be somebody who captures your interest as well, because engagement can indicate that we are very engaged into something or someone. We also have the card of honeymoon here. We have engagement and honeymoon. Some of you, there may be weddings to attend in the month of October, possibly even your own. So that's interesting. I'm curious if that's relevant for any of you. But since it is a general reading, honeymoon can also indicate that maybe we're taking a vacation with our loved one, or maybe we're in this state of like bliss and we're romanticizing our life more. For Libras, I definitely see you are focused more on cultivating a feeling of love and romance in your life, whether you are single or in a relationship. There's a desire to have more of a feeling of like bliss and romance and love. So I definitely see that you're romanticizing your life, whether you're in a relationship or not. And it feels really nice, like you're creating a more blissful environment for yourself, that's for sure. And it's going to be quite beautiful. So what else do we have for my Libras? We also have the Page of Wands here. So this is where we feel more passion. And it's funny, we were just talking about cultivating more romance in your life too, because the Page of Wands is cultivating more passion in your life. So a lot of my Libras, I really feel like you are at a stage where you are ready to create more passion, more love in your everyday life. And you're really ready to kind of like start a new chapter with that. And I think that you're also going to find new hobbies in your love life that spark a more romantic, fun, loving kind of feeling. If you're single, I just see you kind of like adding in like a sprinkle of new love and romance into your life, but in new ways than you've kind of done before. And even if you're in a relationship, same thing applies. You're kind of learning maybe new strategies of sprinkling in more fun and more romance into your love life during the month of October. So that actually is really positive. I'm loving that. That was a great, beautiful message for my Libras. It looks like you're all going to have a quite nice romantic love life during the month of October. So that is what we have for you, my Libras, suns, moons, and risings. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising signs to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for the month of October. I am sending you all of my love, and hopefully I see you in my next video. Bye. Hello, my beautiful Scorpios, and welcome to your part of the October horoscope. This is for my Scorpio suns, moons, and risings. Welcome. So we start off the month of October on October 2nd with Mercury going direct in the sign of Virgo, and this is in your 11th house. As Mercury went retrograde over here, you may have noticed that there was some delays, miscommunications, a lot of revision, replanning, revising certain stuff in your time, your schedule. But in the 11th house, as it begins to go direct over here, you're going to notice communication happens a lot smoother and a lot easier in your life, especially if there happen to be any misunderstandings during the month of September for you. It looks like all of that is clearing up. There's a lot clearer communication moving forward during the month of October and beyond. So Mercury going direct has been very positive, especially starting off the month of October that way. It is going to really help things go a lot smoother, especially when it comes to your coworkers, if you have any, or your friends or partnerships that are in your life. You're going to notice that things are a lot smoother here, and there may even be some important conversations coming up during the beginning of October with Mercury being in your 11th house. There could be some important conversations to be had, or discussions, or planning of certain things, or even collaborations around this time that need to be discussed, but they'll happen a lot clearer and a lot easier, and things will actually get sorted out and figured out, especially if you've been needing to actually like plan something or put something together. All of a sudden in the beginning of October, all of that stuff is going to begin moving forward so much smoother and so much clearer, and it's going to feel like you don't need to revise it so many times. It's going to be much more smoother with basically no delays after that. Then on the 8th of the month, we have Pluto going direct as well in the sign of Capricorn, which is in your 3rd house. So Pluto is now also going direct too. It has been retrograde for the past few months in your 3rd house, which has been causing a lot of transformations when it comes to your mentality, when it comes to the people that you have in your life, such as your friends. And being in the sign of Capricorn, this is really about creating a more mature environment when it comes to your friends, when it comes to your mentality, when it comes to creating boundaries, when it comes to communicating yourself in a more mature way. I feel like a lot of my Scorpios, you've been wanting to come across more maturely and taken more seriously. And since we have Pluto now going direct in Capricorn in the 3rd house, I really think you've learned a lot over the past few months about how to be taken more seriously, about how to be like, how to up-level yourself into a more mature kind of way. And Pluto direct is really when we start to implement those transformations, and they really start to help us a lot. We're also going to have Pluto being in Capricorn and transiting in Capricorn with a couple more retrogrades over the next 2 years. And this is going to be a time for my Scorpios where you are up-leveling yourself to a new level of maturity, to the point where people may even comment, like, you seem way more mature for your age, like, than anybody else that I know that's your age. You might start getting comments like that. And that is because you're really starting to mature yourself on a much deeper level. And you're also doing a lot of transformation mentally. So just be aware of that. Your interests might be changing. Your styles of communication may be changing. You might be meeting some really important people that actually influence a lot of these transformations as well. Because when Pluto transits the 3rd, we can end up meeting some really important friendships and really important people that will transform our lives permanently. So look out for that, but it's all happening in a good way, just so you know. And they may even be older people, since it is in the sign of Capricorn. So just pointing that out, this could be older people coming into your life, not necessarily like super old, but you know, they might be like 5, maybe 10 years older than you, kind of starting to come into your life more often. And this is because you're going through this Pluto transit of, you know, learning more maturity and up-leveling yourself and maturing a lot faster. Then on the 9th of the month, we have the full moon in Aries in your 6th house. The full moons are all about closing old cycles. Being in the sign of Aries, this is also kind of like the beginning of a new cycle at the same time, but this is a closing of something that may have been sort of new for you, within your schedules, routines, within healing. This is all that 6th house energy. So there's like a phase that's closing for you when it came to your schedules, your routine, and your health. And you're ready to kind of close out that old cycle and that chapter and kind of begin a new one when it comes to your schedules, routine, and health, and things like that. So I really think that there's a new phase opening up for here, and also the closing and ending of an old one. Then on the 10th of the month, we have Mercury moving into the sign of Libra, and this is going to be in your 10th house. So Mercury, since it's going direct again, it's moving into your 12th house now, and this is going to be where we start to really balance ourselves out with the plans that we have for our future. Scorpio, I think you're going to be daydreaming a lot in mid-October and sort of kind of planning what you desire for your future and creating a more solid vision of that. I feel like a lot of my Scorpios, you're also really desiring to create more balance mentally for yourself. So learning when to take those mental breaks, learning when to also feed your creativity, and learning also when to rest and recuperate. That's going to be a big theme as well. Then on the 22nd, we have Saturn also going direct in the sign of Aquarius, and this is going to be affecting your 4th house. Saturn is this planet of responsibilities, commitments, challenges, and things like that. And being in your 4th house, this has been really starting to highlight where we maybe need better boundaries in our home life, possibly where we need to root ourselves more, stand our ground a little bit more, create a more solid foundation, or to take more responsibility in our home life in some way. So Saturn's been really highlighting maybe where we fall short on our responsibilities, or maybe where we fall short on planning for the future, maybe where we fall short on family time even. Saturn can really highlight that as it goes through the 4th house. So have we been maybe not spending as much time with family as we should? Have we been not taking as many breaks as we should? Or have we been overly taking breaks, right? Because that can also be another aspect of this. So Saturn direct is now going to be where you start moving forward in this area, and you've done all the figuring out. As Saturn was retrograde for the past few months, you've been figuring all of this out and sort of seeing where we need better boundaries, better planning, and taking higher levels of responsibility in our life. And now that it's going direct, all of that is going to start implementing in your life, and it's going to start going a lot smoother as Saturn continues to move forward through your 4th house. Then on the 23rd of the month, we are going to have Venus moving into Scorpio, which of course is your sign. As Venus moves over here, this is the planet of love and beauty and money. This is very positive whenever it transits your sign because it's going to help you feel your best. It's going to help you feel in a higher energy. You may even do something nice for yourself. This could be where you purchase something nice for yourself, or you take a spa day, or you go get your hair done, or you go like do something where it is for yourself. You're investing in some way in yourself. You may be investing resources into yourself, time, money, energy, putting more time and effort into yourself, your appearance, your body, who you are, your entire soul. You maybe just be putting more effort into that. So Venus transiting over this area is all about that sort of time. Then on the 25th, we have our new moon solar eclipse, which is also happening in Scorpio, which is your sign. So this is actually going to be a big new phase starting for my Scorpios. The solar eclipses are very intense new moons, and new moons are all about starting new cycles, right? So as we have this new moon solar eclipse, it is going to be a massive renewal for my Scorpios. This is big for my Scorpios, okay? Anytime that there's a solar eclipse in your sign, and it doesn't even happen often, by the way, but whenever there's a solar eclipse in your sign, it is a brand new massive transformation for you. You may notice big transformations happening around this time, but it's also going to be very positive, especially since it also is there with Venus as well. This is a very positive transformation for my Scorpios. Like, this is a whole new beginning happening for you. Like, there's a whole new you that's emerging around this time, and there's a lot of inspiration that will follow this as well, although it can feel pretty intense when you're in it. So I'm just going to put that out there. It may feel kind of intense, but at the same time, it's going to be very positive. The effects will be very positive afterwards and even during. Then on the 27th, we have a big truck going by. Then on the 27th, we have Jupiter re-entering Pisces. It has been going retrograde in Aries, and now it is re-entering the sign of Pisces, which is going back into your 5th house. This is going to be where we're realizing that we have certain limitations and barriers when it comes to our fun or leisure, when it comes to our dating life, when it comes to maybe even our children, if we have any, because that is what the 5th house is all about. And Jupiter, when it goes retrograde, it shows us where we may have certain limitations that are stopping us from fully expanding in the way that we want to. So Jupiter going retrograde back into your 5th house is going to be where we start to realize where we maybe need to stop being so hard on ourselves, and where we need to allow ourselves to have more fun and more freedom. Maybe also where we need to allow ourselves to explore a little bit more and not be so restrictive over our ability to open up and have fun. Then on the 30th, we have Mars going retrograde in the sign of Gemini, which is going to be in your 8th house. And this is going to be where we transform a lot of old feelings that we have. Old emotions that we have that were maybe undealt with are going to be dealt with at this time as Mars does its retrograde in this area. It's going to help us transform these things so that we're no longer holding on to anger, we're no longer holding on to like blah, and we're no longer holding on to negative thoughts even. All that kind of jazz. Mars retrograde in this area is going to really help sort of heal a lot of my Scorpios. Being in the 8th house though for you, this could also be where we want to take more responsibility for ourselves. This can also be where you're transforming and wanting more independence is something that I'm feeling in this. And Mars deals with taking action. So where do we need to transform our action in order to become more productive? There may be certain action we're taking, but maybe we're taking action in the wrong area or the wrong way, and it's not providing us the results that we want. And Mars retrograde is going to help us sort of pinpoint those things so that we can transform the type of action we're taking so that we can attain the results that we actually want in our life. So that is what we have for my Scorpio suns, moons, and risings for your horoscope for the month of October. So I hope you enjoyed that. And now if you are ready to hear about your love life, if you are a Scorpio sun, moon, or rising, then let's go ahead and hop right into finding about your love life. Okay, so my Scorpios love life for October. Let's see what we get. We have new love coming out for you. I think that you're realizing you have new interests, and there may be even a new way of feeling love. Like you may have just a new sort of emotion. We also have it is safe for you to love. Wow, Scorpio. I think that you are realizing a new way that you enjoy to receive love. And this could even be something that you're doing for yourself as well, where it's like, oh, I feel love when I light up all the candles at night, or I feel love when I do whatever. You know, you're finding new ways that you can invoke a feeling of love and romance in your life, and you are going to be utilizing those in the month of October. The fact that we also have it is safe for you to love, I think that you are opening up to new possibilities in your love life, especially if you're single. If you are already in a relationship, I think that there's a sense of wanting to renew that love in that relationship. There's a sense of wanting to renew that and to be more open again in that relationship, or at least to open up further. Maybe we've been a little bit closed off out of fear lately. And that's something that's going to be shed in the month of October, because I think you're realizing that it's sort of standing in your own way. It's a double-edged sword, because we want to feel love, but then if we're restricting ourselves from feeling it out of fear, it's like we're not really feeling it anyway. So we might as well like go for it and give it a chance. So there's an energy of that during the month of October. So let's see what else we get here with our tarot cards for Scorpio for love life in October. So we have the moon coming out. Fears. This like literally subconscious fears, where we're scared to maybe walk out into the unknown, or we're scared to kind of open up because we're worried about what the reactions might be. We're worried about what we might get, or we're worried about what if we don't get what we want? What if it turns out bad? There's all these sorts of feelings, like what if I open up and it doesn't go the way I want, or like what if I run into this problem? There's that kind of stuff, but it's coming up to be healed. And again, we have this card of it is safe for you to love. So there's a big message here for my Scorpios for your love life for October to open up more. And the month of October is going to be about opening up more and finding new ways that you get to feel love. If you're single, there may even be like a new interest blossoming in your life. If you're in a relationship, this is like renewing of that love, or expressing it in new and different ways than maybe we've ever done before. So that is what we have for my Scorpios for your love life as well. The little messages and sort of the main sort of energy that we have going on for your love life for the month of October. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Also be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising signs to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for October. And I'm sending you all of my love, and hopefully I see you in my next video. Bye. All right, so my beautiful Sagittariuses, welcome to your part of the October horoscope. This is for my Sagittarius' suns, moons, and risings, so welcome. We start off the month in October on October 2nd with Mercury going direct. It has been retrograde for the past month. It has been causing delays, miscommunications, all that kind of stuff. And Mercury retrograde is actually a positive thing, because it does help us do revisions and revisings and reflecting on things that we need to do that on. But it is finally going direct, which means energy is moving forward once again. And this is happening in your 10th house. This is where you're going to notice that creativity when it comes to your goals and your career is now beginning to move forward. If you've been having certain plans within your career that you've been thinking about for a while or planning for, all of those things are going to begin moving forward, and there's going to be no more delays or miscommunications or second thoughts or revisions and all that kind of stuff. It feels like things are finally moving forward in this area, especially when it comes to those plans that you've been creating. I really think for my Sagittariuses, there has been certain creative plans that you have for goals that you want to attain, as well as your career, and you are making moves on that during the month of October. It's like full steam ahead type of energy in the month of October. And then on the 8th, we also have Pluto going direct in the sign of Capricorn. It's been retrograde for the past few months, and it is going direct in your 2nd house. Pluto has been causing a lot of transformations within Sagittarius's money over the past few years now, as it's been in the sign of Capricorn, and it's also going to stay here for the next 2 years as well. But this is something where it's been taking away certain material stuff for my Sagittariuses. You may notice that there's been really big moments here and there where you end up getting rid of a lot of stuff, or other things happen where you go through some sort of material, maybe losses, or your finances just seem to go in and out of your bank account all of a sudden, because that is kind of Pluto being in the 2nd house. It is going to be taking stuff away, putting stuff back, and like all sorts of transformations financially and materially for my Sagittariuses. As it goes direct though, you're gonna notice that these transformations become a lot more productive for you. And I do want to also mention that Pluto, even though it can seem kind of like harsh at times, actually is such a positive transit no matter where it transits, because it brings us blessings in these areas. It takes away anything that no longer serves us and helps us sort of see what no longer serves us so that we can get rid of that. And it helps us make the transformations that we need to in order to get to our major kind of like goals or dream life. And Pluto also brings with it blessings. Anytime that takes something away or creates a transformation, it brings a blessing. So a transformation is never truly like the death of something, it's the renewal of something. So if you've been noticing that your finances or your material life has been a little bit like, whoo, lately, this is actually a positive thing, and Pluto is going to start to bring you blessings, especially over the next few months before its next retrograde. Again, it's going to stay in your second house for the next 2 years, so it's going to be kind of doing this sort of dance with your material life and your money over the next 2 years, but this is to help you sort of get rid of old habits that no longer serve you financially, and to get rid of old material belongings that also no longer serve you financially, so that you can begin moving forward as like a new you that has new plans and responsibilities and all of that financially. And you're going to notice that your money starts increasing a lot more as Pluto begins to leave the sign of Capricorn. In the sign of Capricorn though, this is teaching you about responsibility. So this is heavily teaching all of my Sagittariuses about financial responsibility, material responsibility. So you may notice that when you purchase something, you're just like, wait a minute, I'm completely rethinking that. Why did I do that? I want to completely exchange that and transform it to something else. So that is what Pluto in the second house does. And it's been here for a while. So you've been maybe getting rid of stuff and making bigger purchases and then getting rid of it again. You know, this could indicate moving a lot, like buying new homes all the time, buying new cars all the time. This could be something like buying new things where you're like, or even new clothes where you're like, why did I do that? Like, what? So that is Pluto transit the second house, but it's teaching you who you really are through this. It's teaching you what you really need and deserve materially. It's also teaching you financial responsibility. So that is what Pluto here is teaching you. I do want to again mention though, it is going to bring you blessings for the next few months as well. You're going to notice that things are really positive, and those transformations that you've been realizing over the past few months are now having positive effects for the next few months as well before the next retrograde. And even when it goes retrograde again, it's still going to be positive. It's still bringing you blessings, but get ready to receive blessings for the rest of the year now from Pluto being in your second house. There's going to be more blessings financially for you, especially as you uphold those new responsibility sort of learning, growth, and wisdom that you've gained through this. So Sagittarius, that's what we have there in the beginning of the month. On the 9th of the month, we have the full moon in Aries, which is in your 5th house. The full moons are closing of old cycles, and being in your 5th house, this is a closing of a cycle romantically for my Sagittariuses, within your passion, within your fun, pleasure, and leisure life, and also within your children if you have any. There's a closing of a phase here where we have completed a certain cycle and we're ready to begin a new one. So there could be a certain cycle romantically that you are wrapping and putting the finishing touches on. You're like, okay, that cycle's done and we're on to the next new cycle. You're on to the next bigger chapter. Okay, there's a bigger chapter here when it comes to, you know, maybe parenting, if you're a parent, when it comes to your fun and leisure, you know, and when it comes to your romance and dating life, there's a whole new cycle beginning here for my Sagittariuses, and we're closing out all those old chapters. Then on the 10th of the month, we are going to have Mercury moving into the sign of Libra. And so since it's going forward again, now it's moving into the sign of Libra, which is in your 11th house. And this is going to be where we may be communicating a lot more with certain people. This could be where people are messaging us a lot more. We might get people reaching out to us, bringing offers to us, bringing ideas to us. We could even start a collaborative project around this time, or maybe even get a new friendship that becomes a lot closer to us. But there is a bigger social time around the 10th of the month as Mercury moves into Libra, which is going to be in your 11th house. There could also be bigger ideas about, you know, what you want to do in the world, bigger plans. This could even be making travel plans for some of you and things like that. Then on the 22nd, we also have Saturn going direct. So a lot of planets now going direct. Saturn's going direct in the sign of Aquarius, which is in your 3rd house. And Saturn is the planet that teaches us big responsibility. And now I know we were kind of touching on that subject with Pluto a little bit, but Saturn is about responsibility, commitments, and the certain challenges that we have to get over. So as it goes direct in your 3rd house, this is where we need to learn, and where we have been learning about how to create proper boundaries and actually communicate it, because the 3rd house is communication. It is also our mind and our learning. So as Saturn was retrograde, it was teaching us a lot about where we maybe need to implement new boundaries and actually communicate them, and how to communicate what's really on your mind, how to have more mature communication. So that's what you've been learning over the past few months. You've also been learning how to overcome certain communicative challenges, certain mental challenges when it came to planning, maybe for your future, or planning for projects, or getting things done and planned out in a proper way. And Saturn direct is going to help us implement all that we've learned. It is helping you implement that clearer, more responsible, and more direct communication, where we're communicating our boundaries, we're communicating our cold, hard, honest feelings, where it comes to the actual like structure of how things gotta go, you know? And it's helping you express things in a more logical and more reason type of way. And things like that. So Saturn direct is really helping bring that responsibility out of us mentally, communicatively, all that kind of jazz. So it's really helping those certain areas. And you may also notice that there's certain scenarios that come up that bring out more of a maturity in us, and more mature communication as well. So that's going to affect my Sagittariuses really positively as Saturn moves direct, because it's bringing us now to that next stage. We've done all the revision, we've done the testing through its retrograde, and now it's time to actually just be that more mature version of ourselves that's ready for more. If you've been going through mental challenges lately, Saturn going direct is really going to relieve a lot of those mental challenges when it came to questioning certain stuff. And now it's going to be figured out, and there's a more solid kind of streamlined structure to follow here. Then on the 23rd, we're going to have Venus moving into the sign of Scorpio, which is going to be in your 12th house. Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. And as it moves into the 12th house, this is going to be maybe where we're starting to imagine what we really want for ourselves financially, what we maybe really want for ourselves regarding love. And there may be certain transformations that we're wanting to make, because being in the sign of Scorpio, this is transforming old energy into new energy. So when it comes to your aesthetics, the things that you're drawn to, this might go through a transformation by the end of October. When it comes to your money and how you relate to it, there's certain transformations that you're also making here when it comes to your goals that you have. And so Venus transit this area is going to help us maybe realize where we have certain subconscious programs that need healing in order to provide more love, beauty, and money into your life. Then on the 25th, we have a new moon solar eclipse also happening in your 12th house in the sign of Scorpio. So solar eclipses are really intense energy, and new moons are all about new beginnings and new cycles, right? So the solar eclipse that we have in the sign of Scorpio, this is going to be a very intense energy when it comes to making transformations and letting go of the old. Scorpio helps us transform what no longer serves us. So this new cycle is really helping you shed all those things that just don't serve you anymore, and they're just dead weight at this point. This could be personality traits. This could be limiting beliefs. This could be grudges from the past. This could be emotional stuff. This new moon solar eclipse is like, let's get rid of that. There's a whole new cycle beginning for my Sagittariuses at the end of October, and it is going to be beautiful. It is opening up brand new doors for you where we're no longer carrying our past with us everywhere we go. And so that's going to be a beautiful time for my Sagittariuses. Then on the 27th, we have Jupiter re-entering Pisces, which is going to be in your 4th house. Jupiter has been retrograde through Aries, now it's going back into the sign of Pisces, which is going into your 4th house. This is where we're realizing where there may be certain limitations on our home life, and Jupiter going retrograde is going to help us see where those limitations are so that we can expand out of them. So when it comes to rooting yourself somewhere, when it comes to expanding your home life, when it comes to expanding your sense of security, Jupiter is helping us see where we're limited and how we can break through those limitations to continue to expand so much more. So Jupiter's helping us see all those things. And since it's in the sign of Pisces, this is also dreaming about what you really desire in your home life, also visualizing what you really desire to create here, and helping us think about the ways creatively how to get to those goals, how to create more of a security blanket for yourself, how to create more of a loving, relaxing home environment, all that kind of stuff. Then on the 30th of the month, we have Mars going retrograde in the sign of Gemini, which is going to be in your 7th house. So whenever Mars goes retrograde, this brings up where we are not taking enough action or where we take too much action. And it can also bring up where we get certain frustrations. So being in your 7th house, this is in your intimate relationships. There may be certain things here where maybe we need to take more action for our intimate relationships. Maybe we're needing to show up a little bit more. Maybe we're needing to do more here. Or maybe we overly do it and we need to take a back seat for a second and cool it. This can also be where we bring up old frustrations from the past in order for them to be healed and let go of, so that they no longer need to sit in our energy, just festering there for a moment yet to come. So Mars going retrograde over here is going to really help us communicate our feelings in a constructive way rather than a destructive way. So my Sagittarius is, by the end of the month, you're really learning how to express yourself constructively, positively to your relationships, to create equal balance, and to also really start to listen. A lot of my Sagittarius is, you can sometimes be good at talking, but maybe it's a time to listen. Or even vice versa, because both of them go hand in hand with this Gemini energy, okay? Are we talking too much, or are we not talking enough? Are we listening yet not speaking, or are we only speaking and not listening? Where do we need to have more balance in this area so that we can feel like we're showing up to those relationships fairly and equally, and that we're putting enough effort and action towards them and those goals? So that is what we have for my Sagittarius's suns, moons, and risings for the month of October. For your horoscope, if you are interested in your love life for the month of October for my Sagittarius's suns, moons, and risings, then let's go ahead and hop right into it. Okay, so my Sagittarius's, we have a retreat coming up. So a lot of you, your love life is like, let's have some time alone. Okay, whether that be with your partner, if you're in a relationship, you may be having like moments where you're just like, let's just have it be me and you. Like, let's not feel the need to have everyone else join us. Like, let's have alone time together. And then if you're single, I'm seeing that you are maybe taking some time out to kind of reflect on your own. And some of you, I feel like, are keeping your love life a little bit more private in the month of October. I'm hearing there's a sense of like keeping it more private and keeping it between you both rather than publicizing everything, or rather than kind of sharing everything to your friends and family. I feel like there's going to be certain things that you really just desire to keep more between you and your partner if you're with one. If you're single, I also see you kind of keeping your love life a little bit more private during the month of October as well, and kind of just taking a back seat, and you're more of relaxed and go with the flow. I'm feeling this relaxed and go with the flow energy rather than a forceful energy. It's more of a relax and let's see what happens. That's kind of the energy that I'm getting for Sagittarius is for October. We also have codependency coming up. So I think a lot of you are reflecting on some of your more negative habits in order to heal them. So some of you, I feel like, might rush to tell people about your problems, or you may rush to try to fix things right away when there's a mistake. And you're realizing that sometimes we just need to take some time for ourselves before speaking. Sometimes we need to reflect and retreat ourselves before rushing into feeling like everything is our problem and our fault and we need to figure it out right now. So I feel like there's a more relaxed energy and a more mature energy of being able to just let things go and retreat and let things cool down on their own before kind of coming back to them. There's that sort of energy. And there's an energy of wanting to be more independent as well. I think a lot of Sagittarius is you're learning how to be more independent in your love life. You're learning how to be more sovereign and control of your own energy rather than letting somebody else take over your energy, or rather than letting a relationship sort of dictate how you behave. I think you're realizing that you just want more freedom and more individuality and more independence in your relationship. And it doesn't mean that you're wanting to be outside of a relationship, but it just means that you want more independence so that you're not constantly being influenced fully by a relationship. You just want more freedom, which makes sense for Sagittarius because you're all about your freedom, right? We also have the Sun and the Page of Pentacles. Both of these are reversed here. So even when the Sun is reversed, it's still very positive. The Page of Pentacles being reversed, I think you're doing a lot more learning in the month of October. You're observing a lot and learning a lot so that you can create the best possible outcome. And I'm seeing you learning how to be independent. That is going to be your biggest theme for October, is learning how to be more independent. And I think this is actually going to increase your love life, is to be more sovereign, more free, and more independent rather than codependent, right? Because codependency isn't actually stronger love. Codependency is more of a negative love because we're not allowing the freedom there. We're feeling way too attached to the point where we let fears get in the way and fears stop us. So I think that you are learning how to be more free. It's like I'm seeing you literally like a bird and you're like, let's uncage. Because how can we love so deeply when we're a caged bird, or when we have somebody else that's a caged bird, or when we're both caged birds? The most beautiful love comes from uncaging. And so I'm really seeing this sort of visual that Spirit is sending me right now about this uncaging of yourself and the love that's around you, to be able to allow more freedom, more independence, but yet a strong bond that keeps you two together. I'm literally seeing lovebirds. I literally see lovebirds as the visual. But lovebirds don't want to be caged, because that's when the love starts to get not so good anymore. So I'm seeing this freedom happening, and this freedom is really beautiful. And I'm seeing a red ribbon. So the red ribbon reminds me of romance. So there's like a romance here that you're learning how to cultivate through more freedom. So that is what I see for my Sagittariuses for the month of October for your love life. That is my Sagittariuses, suns, moons, and risings. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button down below if you want to see more videos like this in the future. And again, be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising sign to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for the month of October. I'm sending you so much love, and hopefully I see you in my next video. Bye. All right, so my Capricorns, suns, moons, and risings, welcome to your part of the zodiac sign prediction. So we start off October on October 2nd with Mercury finally going direct in the sign of Virgo, which is in your 9th house. It has been retrograde for the past month. It has been causing delays, miscommunications, revisions, revising, replanning of all sorts of stuff throughout the month of September. Being direct, though, finally, this is very positive, and even the retrogrades are productive in their own way. But in your 9th house, this is going to be where we start implementing a new perspective on our life. So when it comes to the expansion that you want to create, when it comes to the curiosity of what you want to learn and how you want to grow, Mercury going direct over here is where we start actually accessing new information. I really feel like for a lot of Capricorns, there's going to be new information coming to you. People might be telling you certain things that allow you to expand your curiosity more, or you may be learning or diving into something that actually really catches your attention and really excites you and gets you excited to expand into more. I think that there's something new that you're going to get excited about in life during the beginning of October. This could be a new idea that's maybe sparked by some new information that you're learning, or something like that that kind of catches your interest and your attention. Then on the 8th of the month, we have Pluto also going direct in the sign of Capricorn, which is in your 1st house, of course. Pluto has been in your 1st house in that sign of Capricorn for a few years now, and it's going to stay there for another 2 years. And it has just gone through its retrograde for the past few months, and now it is going direct in the month of October. And Pluto is actually a planet that brings with it a lot of blessings, but it also first takes a lot of stuff away so that it can make room for the blessings that it's going to give us. Pluto takes away anything that no longer serves us. Being in your 1st house Pluto has been taking away anything from you that has been holding you back in your life. Pluto has been taking away a lot of Capricorn's comforts, things that you're used to. It has been trying to push you into a new level of maturity. Like literally the way that you could imagine Pluto being in Capricorn, which is of course in your sign, could be like a mother trying to take away like a soother from a baby who doesn't need it anymore. And they're like, okay, it's time to mature. It's time to up level. It is time to grow up. We no longer are doing that anymore. Like we don't have that anymore. It's like taking away the blankie from like a little kid, you know? And it's like, no, we're mature. We don't need that anymore. And the kid's like, but I really like it still and it makes me feel nice. And Pluto's like, we're older than that. Let's go. You know, so there's a new wave of Capricorn that's coming out. There's a new level of you that is ready to come out, but it is going to require leaving behind some of your comfort. So a lot of Capricorns, you have been noticing that certain things that have made you feel comfortable in the past have been completely taken away from your life over the past couple years. And this is kind of going to be happening over the next couple years as well. But as Pluto goes direct, this is going to be the time where Pluto begins replacing those few things that it did take away during its previous retrogrades and previous transits through your first house. Now you're going to begin the receiving end of that through the rest of this year, where Pluto is going to be blessing you and bringing in the new stuff. It's like, okay, sure, we took away your blanket, but like, here's a guitar, go learn that, you know? And it's like, ooh, there's a new interest, like, ooh, that's exciting. So this is kind of how Pluto works. It takes things away that no longer serve us, because it's not going to serve us to be a 20-year-old adult still with a soother, right? So there's going to be a time where that needs to be taken away. So Pluto is helping us mature right now, okay? And Pluto direct is now giving you your blessing of what you now can focus on to replace the comforts that it was previously taking away from you. So there's been a lot of self-transformation for my Capricorns. It has been big, and it's going to continue to be big over the next couple years, but in a very positive way, even if you don't see it in the moment. Then on the 9th of the month, we have our full moon in Aries, which is going to be in your 4th house. So full moons are endings of cycles. Being in your 4th house, this is an ending of a cycle in your home life. So some of my Capricorns, there's a whole cycle that's ending over here, and you're going to be getting ready to begin a new one. And this is something to deal with either your money and your finances, your investments, where you're rooting yourself, your home life, your family life, things like this. There's a cycle that is ending here where we're no longer going to repeat certain old patterns. Then on the 10th of the month, we have Mercury moving into Libra. So as it's going direct again, now it's moving back into the sign of Libra, which is in your 10th house. This is when we're going to start planning for bigger goals in our life. So Capricorn, get ready. Mid-October, you are going to start planning for much higher ideas, much bigger goals. This could be career goals. This could be like general goals that you want to attain, but you're going to start planning for those, and things are going to start moving forward in that area when it comes to what you really want to do in your future and the bigger mountains that you want to climb. Then on the 22nd, we also have Saturn going direct as well. So a lot of planets going direct in the month of October. This is going direct in the sign of Aquarius, which is going to be in your 2nd house. And Saturn is the planet that teaches us responsibility. It teaches us how to overcome challenges, and it teaches us about commitment as well. So being in your 2nd house, how can we take more responsibility when it comes to our finances? Where do we need to learn more responsibility when it comes to overcoming certain challenges to attaining our material desires? Okay, and Saturn going direct is really positive because it's allowing this energy to now move forward. As it was retrograde for the past few months, this has been where we've been learning how to take more responsibility over our finances. This has been where we've been learning how to take more action and commitment when it comes to our career and when it comes to creating more material abundance in our life and more wealth. You've been learning the true definition of wealth over the past few months as Saturn was retrograde. But now that it's direct, you're going to notice that things start moving a lot more smoother. You're now overcoming those bigger challenges that you've been met with over this past almost year. You are seeing now how to come over those things, how to come over those limitations, those obstacles, and those challenges, which is going to be very positive, and things are going to start moving forward faster than ever as long as you're committed to those new responsibilities and those new goals. Then on the 23rd, we have Venus moving into Scorpio, which is in your 11th house. Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money. And being in your 11th house, this can be where we start talking to certain friends a lot more. This could be where we even meet a new significant friendship in our life or a new significant acquaintance that maybe helps us along our journey in some way or is just a really fun person to talk to in general. But this can also be where we just reconnect with certain people in our life as well. And we make stronger bonds, or we're seeing people a lot more. There could be an important event that you're invited to around this time as well, around the 23rd of October. Then on the 25th, we have our new moon solar eclipse, which is also happening in your 11th house in the sign of Scorpio. So the solar eclipses are much more intense new moons, because of course it's a solar eclipse, so it makes it a lot more intense. There's a lot more of an intense energy, and these solar eclipses, they're new moons, right? And so it's a new cycle that's opening up, but in a much more intense way. This is in your 11th house of friendships, humanity, the environment, charity work, the bigger picture, things like that. So with this new moon here, this could be a new cycle beginning when it comes to your friendships, the people that you want to be around. This could be a new cycle when it comes to a bigger purpose that you have in the world that you want to fulfill or create. Maybe you desire to have more meaning in your life. This new moon solar eclipse can be when a lot of Capricorns want to have more meaning in their life. So there could be certain things that you're like, I really want to expand it into more and do more here. Then on the 27th, we have Jupiter re-entering Pisces. It's been retrograde and now it's going to re-enter the sign of Pisces, which is going back into your 3rd house. When Jupiter retrograde goes back into your 3rd house, this can be where we're noticing certain limitations when it comes to our way of thinking that have been limiting us from moving forward and expanding. This can also be where it highlights certain communication limitations. So do we have certain barriers when it comes to expressing ourselves? Do we have certain barriers when it comes to what we allow ourselves to talk about or say and open up about? Capricorn, you are realizing where you hold yourself back within communication too much. And this is going to be where you start to realize what that is so that you can overcome that, so that you can begin to open yourself up a lot more, to be understood a lot more, and to also just express yourself in general a lot more. Then on the 30th of the month, we have our Mars retrograde in the sign of Gemini, which is going to be in your 6th house. Whenever Mars goes retrograde, it highlights where we maybe lack enough action. It can also be where we're overspending our action and our energy. And it can also be where we're noticing we have certain frustrations. Being in your 6th house, this deals with your schedule. This deals with your health. So are there certain things where either we're overworking ourselves a little bit, we're overly taking action towards our health and our fitness and our goals, or are we sort of letting it slide a little bit lately? Because we're needing to bring this back into balance. Mars retrograde is when we start to see where we might have an imbalance in this area so that we can bring it back into balance. So Mars retrograde will be bringing up those types of things, and also within your schedule as well. So where are we maybe lacking certain action in our schedule, and where do we maybe need to create more balance there? That will be the Mars retrograde. So now that is our month of October for my Capricorn sun, moons, and risings. If you are now interested in knowing about your love life for October, then let's go ahead and hop right into that. Okay, so my Capricorn suns, moons, and risings, this is about your love life in October. So let's see what we get. We have romantic feelings coming up. So a lot of you, I believe, in the month of October is going to be a month where I'm definitely getting that you are feeling more emotion in general in your love life. Some of you are wanting to express more. And it's interesting because we also had one of those retrogrades that was talking about being able to express yourself a little bit more, or it might have been, it was that Jupiter retrograde back into your 3rd about expressing yourself a little bit more. And so the romantic feelings, I think you're gonna have certain things on your mind that you really want to say and that you really want to express. So that's going to be happening. And then we also have the cards of let go of control issues and worth waiting for. I think you're learning how to let down your guard more in your love life. You're also learning how to let go of needing things to go your way. You may be a little bit stubborn when it comes to wanting things to happen a certain way, and you may be realizing that not everything is going to happen exactly how you want it. So a big thing for you is letting go of those kind of control issues and realizing that certain things are worth waiting for. So I think you're also realizing to take things a little bit slower and to also begin to express yourself more. Being able to express your emotions, but maybe not necessarily jumping into things right away, and also not being as harsh when it comes to controlling certain outcomes. We also have the Six of Pentacles coming out for you, and this is learning how to be more balanced. I think a lot of Capricorns, you are learning how to think more about the other person. So whether you're single or in a relationship, you are learning that everybody has different wants and needs, but they need to be met equally and fairly rather than one way or the other. Just because we feel very strongly about a certain thing doesn't mean that that's the only way to do it, and doesn't mean that's the only right way to do something, right? We need to respect and honor other people's wants and wishes too, fairly and equally, and find something that's compatible for us, right? So for those of you that are in a relationship, I think you're realizing how to give the other person what they want a little bit more. So if they do have certain desires, instead of us focusing on like, but I want it to go this way, it's like, okay, but let me just give back to them a little bit. Let me focus on what they like. Let me focus on them a little bit more, and vice versa. So not just solely focusing on your partner, but also, being more vocal about what it is that you want. Being more vocal about what you desire to experience, but in a balanced way, to where both people, if you're in a relationship, are getting what they desire, right? Equally. So it's about being more fair and more equal. And the month of October is about balancing that out to be more fair and equal in your love life. So that is what we have there for my beautiful Capricorn suns, moons, and risings for your horoscope for the month of October and your love life. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising sign to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for October. I am sending you all of my love, and hopefully I see you in my next video. Bye! Hello, my beautiful Aquariuses, and welcome to your part of the October horoscope. This is for my Aquariuses, suns, moons, and risings, so welcome. We start off the month of October with Mercury going direct on the 2nd of October, which is happening in your 8th house. When Mercury transits the 8th house, this creates a lot more of an intuitive feeling around picking up on the expressions of other people, or like the subtle meanings that people are giving off. It's just a lot more intuitive, and it's something where we are more sensitive to the subtle stuff going on. As Mercury was retrograde, Mercury does create a lot of like delays. It creates misunderstandings. It's a time of reflection and revision. So it's positive in that aspect, but it does kind of create certain also mishaps, if you will. And then as it goes direct, all of a sudden we're understanding things on such a deeper level, where we're like, oh, I finally understand things. Like, oh my God, I got this song in my head, like, I can see clearly now. Like, that's Mercury direct. And being in your 8th house, you are going to be able to be a lot more intuitive as Mercury transits your 8th house again and it goes direct. So this is a lot more clear communication. I believe that you may even get deeper in communication with somebody around this time, around the 2nd of October. Conversations might get deeper and more intimate with certain people in your life in the beginning of October as Mercury goes direct here. Sorry, my camera cut out there. My memory card got too full, but we're back. Anyway, Pluto now is going direct on the 8th of the month in your 12th house. And Pluto's been in your 12th house for the past while, and it's been causing a lot of transformations in this area. Pluto helps us release old things from our past. It helps us release stuff that no longer serves us. And being in your 12th house, you've been letting go of a lot of old beliefs. you've been letting go of a lot of old ways of thinking and transforming your thinking on a deep level. Like my Aquarius is, you've been in philosophy mode for the past few years, and this is going to continue all the way through the next 2 years as well. And Pluto, as it went retrograde, was really helping you rethink and reevaluate certain belief systems. It's been also helping you rethink and reevaluate your visions for your future, so that you can replan that, and so you can also maybe even let go of certain things that have been no longer serving you and also implement things that now do serve you. Pluto always comes with blessings. Pluto is the planet of transformation. A lot of people see Pluto as this planet that just takes away things and it pulls things from our life, because it is the planet that, you know, is kind of like the planet of death, I guess, but death is a symbolism of transformation. So it's like going through a metamorphosis, rather, is like a better word for it. So the metamorphosis that all of my Aquarius have been going through is philosophical, but Pluto always brings us blessings after it sort of takes old things away from us. So Aquarius is, you've been going through a lot of transformations lately, and you're going to notice that throughout the end of this year, you're all of a sudden going to get tons of blessings in your life, especially towards your view of life, your philosophy, your perspective, your vision for your future. All of a sudden, the vision for your future might be altering with Pluto being direct in your 12th house again. And it's going to be helping you get to an alignment to a much more fantasy-like life. The 12th house is sort of where we visualize fantasy things, and Pluto may bring you blessings by the end of the year that create a much more like dreamlike life for you, where good blessings are coming in that's like, oh my God, I never would have even thought that that was possible. I never would have even dreamed of this for myself. This is so much better than I could have ever dreamed. There might be certain things happening that you never even planned for yourself, and all of a sudden it's like, well, can't be mad at that. That's great. Like I'm happy about that. I'm happy my life turned out that way, even though it might have been something that you never even envisioned for yourself prior. So that's going to be something that's happening as Pluto's going direct again here. And again, it's going to be transiting this area in your 12th house for the next 2 years. So this is going to be something that's really transforming and continuing to transform and bring you new blessings and new direction over the next 2 years. Then on the 9th, we have our full moon in Aries, and this is happening in your 3rd house. And the full moon is the closing of old cycles. Being in your 3rd house, this is a closing of an old cycle when it comes to your friendships, when it comes to communication, when it comes to learning, even the things that you're interested in. And there's a closing of this old cycle. So you may have like a closing of, you know, a cycle with a friend. You may have a certain closing of a cycle with a certain interest that you have, or all sorts of things like this. But this is helping you prepare for something more and something better and something new. There's a new chapter that will open up after this, but the full moon is the completion and closing of an old chapter on October 9th. Then on October 10th, we have Mercury moving into the sign of Libra, and this is in your 9th house. Mercury is the planet of our mentality. It's like quick events happening. Being in your 9th house, this is the house of expansion. This is the house of higher learning. This is the house of travel. So there could be like travel plans coming up for you. There could be things here where all of a sudden we're making plans to expand more. We're making plans, we're thinking about things like, oh, I want to expand into this next, or I can see my life taking on this new direction. This is a time of thinking about that. And being in the sign of Libra, this may deal with your intimate relationships. This may deal with other people in your life in general. And this is causing more balance. It's like, let's balance this out. Let's create something that's more harmonious so that we can expand so much more. And there's definitely going to be a lot more plans that you're making for your future at this time. Then on the 22nd, we also have Saturn going direct as well. So there's a lot of planets going direct in the month of October, which there's a lot of energy now moving forward rather than going backwards and making revisions. We are now on the energy of moving forward in the month of October. And since Saturn is in your sign of Aquarius, this is happening in your 1st house. And Saturn, it went direct over the past, it went retrograde over the past few months, almost a year. And this has been a time where we've had to reevaluate our commitments. We've had to reevaluate our maturity and what we want to stick to. We've had to reevaluate the responsibilities in our life. We've had to reevaluate even our boundaries that we have in our life as well. And with Saturn going direct now, this is bringing out a new level of responsibility and maturity for my Aquariuses. This is bringing out a new level of commitment to your personal life, since this is your first house. This is a new level of commitment to your physical body. This is a new level of commitment to yourself and your personality, your persona, and your entire being, like literally all your personal life. You are now more committed in this area. You are also maybe even taking on a higher level of responsibility or a higher level of maturity as Saturn goes direct in your first house on the 22nd. There's a new level of maturity. There's a whole up leveling in this area. It's like you have like reached the next stage. It's almost like you're playing a video game. I don't know why I'm using this example, but I guess we're on the Aquarius one, so why not talk about video games, I guess. But like, it's almost like when you reach like a new like character level in a video game where you get like a character upgrade. That's like Saturn direct in the first house. This is like character upgrade energy. You have done a lot of revisions and revising and replanning and up-leveling over the past few months, and now it's time to actually implement that into physical form and into finally moving forward with all of those new plans and ideas. Then on the 23rd, we have Venus moving into the sign of Scorpio, which is going to be entering your 10th house. And Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and money, and when it enters the 10th house, that's a good area in my opinion, because this can be when our finances increase. This can also be when we transform something within our finances as well, because it's in the sign of Scorpio. So something financially for us is transforming, and we are either attaining more, there's like a higher level that we're getting to, and that we're climbing to, and somehow our assets are increasing, or even our money is increasing, our goals are getting bigger. We might have bigger goals for ourselves. And Venus, since it is the planet of love, beauty, and money, it can definitely indicate that we're having an asset increase around the end of October. Something is increasing asset-wise for my Aquariuses. And it may even start off as simple as an idea, or it may start off as some sort of transformation where we're just renewing something and making it better. Something along the lines of that. But there is something here that's up-leveling and becoming better for my Aquariuses. Then on the 25th of the month, we have our new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio, which is in your 10th house as well. And solar eclipses are such intense energy. It's like a new moon, but on steroids. You know what I mean? Like, it is so much more intense. Being in the sign of Scorpio, there's going to be a big transformation and a whole renewal of energy here. Again, you are entering a new phase when it comes to your goals in life. You are climbing up a whole new mountain by the end of October. There's a whole new mountain that you're setting your sights on to climb. Rather than the old mountain that you've already reached the peak of, you're like, there's a new thing that I'm going after now. There's a new goal, there's a new vision, there's a new everything, and that's happening on the 25th of October. Then on the 27th, we have Jupiter re-entering the sign of Pisces. Jupiter has been retrograde, and now it is re-entering the sign of Pisces, which is going to be back into your second house. This is where we're going to realize where we may have certain limitations on ourselves financially that we can't seem to like get over. And Jupiter going retrograde over here is going to help us see how we can change that. Because with our current structure of things, we may have reached a cap financially, and Jupiter's like, we got to reevaluate this so that we can like, increase to more. The second house deals with our finances. It also deals with our world materially. So even if you are, maybe wanting to expand into more materially, and we're realizing that, there's like a limit on that. Maybe I need to expand more, especially since we also had Venus moving into the 10th house as well. Which is all about increasing your assets and your finances, but then Jupiter going back into your second is helping you realize maybe where we have a certain cap that we need to maybe get over. And Jupiter is going to help us see how we can break through those current limitations and expand into more. Jupiter retrograde is going to help you see how to expand into more in your future when it comes to the goals that you have in those areas. Then on the 30th, we have Mars going retrograde in the sign of Gemini, which is in your 5th house. And this is going to be where we start to see where we maybe need to reevaluate how we have fun so that we can create more balance in there. The 5th house is about pleasure and leisure. It's also about our dating and romantic life, and also about kids if you have any. And as Mars go retrograde, we might have some certain frustration in this area that we are releasing and healing. But this can also be where maybe we're not taking enough action, or maybe we're taking too much action in the area of pleasure and fun. So this is going to be where we have to reevaluate and rebalance how we have pleasure and fun. Are we relaxing enough? Are we taking enough time to actually have fun? Or are we overworking ourselves to the point of burnout? Mars retrograde is helping us see where we can create more balance in this area of our life. So instead of constantly always doing things that are so insanely productive, maybe we need to make a little bit more time to have more fun, and vice versa. So Mars retrograde brings out those types of thoughts and energies, and that is what we have for my Aquariuses for the month of October for your astrology. And now, if you are interested in your love life for my Aquariuses, suns, moons, and risings, then let's go ahead and hop right into that. All right, so my Aquariuses, your love life for the month of October. Let's see what we get here. We have heart-to-heart conversations. So a lot of you in your love life in October, you are opening up a lot more. For your love life, I'm seeing communication is going to actually be a really big thing, and beginning to express yourself more using your words. I think that there's going to be a deep conversation that you have. If you're in a relationship with somebody, I'm seeing like a really deep conversation where you're getting to know each other a lot more and talking about desires. I'm seeing talking about desires and talking about more intimate, like personal kind of stuff, but in a really positive way. Like I'm seeing this being surrounded by like a lot of beautiful energy that brings you two closer. If you are single, I'm seeing you opening up more about what you desire in love. I'm also seeing you getting to know yourself better. If you're single, you're getting to know yourself better on the level of what you want and what you desire in your love life. And you're beginning to have those moments where you're connecting with your heart and feeling what it is that you desire and you want in your life. Woo! And then we have a lot of cards coming out now. This one feels like it really wants to come out. We have flirt. Some of you are getting connected back to your fun side and realizing that sometimes we don't need to take things like too ultra seriously, and sometimes we can just have fun and like flirt and enjoy kind of like the energy. So some of you are just ready to have more fun and more like lightheartedness. I'm seeing like a deep conversation definitely happening in October for a lot of you, and connecting deeper to your heart, connecting deeper to somebody. And then also just this fun energy where we're focused on having fun. We're focused on enjoying our romantic life, or at least, you know, focus on having fun creating it, you know? We also have the 6 of Wands being reversed with the Knight of Pentacles upright. You are more committed to long-term things. With the Knight of Pentacles upright, there might be a desire in the month of October to be more committed to something solid and realistic and something long-lasting, creating something more long-lasting versus short-term pleasures, versus short-term wins. I think that there's also this energy of being more humble. With the 6 of Wands being reversed, I'm seeing this humbleness where it's like we don't really need to be on a pedestal. We don't really need to have all eyes on us. We're ready for something a little bit more like mature. Knight of Pentacles, 6 of Wands reversed. There's this energy of like, I don't care about the attention anymore. I just want something solid and reliable. So that might also be a thing that comes up during the month of October, is getting more into that like very reliable sort of stage of your life. So that is what I'm seeing for my Aquariuses, suns, moons, and risings for your month of October. I hope you enjoyed this prediction. Be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising sign to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for the month of October. I'm sending you so much love, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!
All right, so my beautiful Pisces, welcome to your part of the October zodiac sign prediction. This is for my Pisces suns, moons, and risings, so welcome. We start off the month of October, right on October 2nd, with Mercury finally going direct. It has been retrograde for the past month, which has caused some miscommunications. It has caused some delays, some revisions, revising, reflecting, all that kind of jazz through the month of September, but now it is going direct in the sign of Virgo, which is going to be in your 7th house. So Mercury direct over here is going to help more communication, more openness in relationships. You may be noticing that communication is a lot clearer, you're being understood a lot more, and there may even be certain things that you really desire to say or to tell somebody during this month, and there could be certain things that it's like really from the heart. Like I'm feeling like from the heart sort of things with Mercury direct going through your 7th house. There could be some like, you know, deeper emotions being shared at this time that helps you get closer in your relationships, or somebody may even be reaching out to you and telling you something that's really on their heart and their mind. Then on the 8th of the month, we have Pluto also going direct in the sign of Capricorn in the 11th house. So lots of planets going direct in the month of October. We have Mercury going direct, we have Pluto going direct, we also have Saturn going direct as well, but that is not till later in the month. But with Pluto going direct in your 11th house, this is a lot of transformations within how you view the world. This is a lot of transformations in politics and your opinions on politics probably. This is a lot of transformations when it comes to your friendships as well. And so Pluto has been here for the past couple years, and it's going to be here for another couple years. And it's just coming out of its retrograde on October 8th. It was in retrograde for the past few months, which has been a lot of like reevaluating and a lot of transformation within your friendships. This has been a lot of transformation within your belief systems. This has been a lot of transformation with how you want to be of service to other people and what your purpose really is. And so there's been a lot of like reevaluating here, and after it's coming back out of its retrograde and going direct once again, you're gonna notice that things become a lot smoother when it comes to your friendships, when it comes to how you're spending your time, when it comes to the service that you want to be of towards other people, what you want your purpose to be in the world, and things like that. So Pluto going direct here is going to really help with this. But Pluto, I also want to mention, it brings a lot of blessings with it. So there may have been a lot of transformations within your friendships over the past couple years. You may have had certain people come back into your life. You may have had certain people go away from your life over the past couple years. And this is going to be something that continues to happen over the next couple years. But Pluto's really helping you see who is your real friends, who really actually matters, who cares, and what is, you know, right for you. Pluto helps us eradicate anything that no longer serves us. So if there's been certain people that have been falling out of your life over the past couple years, that has been because of this Pluto transit, and it has been really taking away the things and the people that don't serve a higher purpose in our life. But Pluto also brings with it blessings. Yes, it takes away stuff from our life, but it also actually replaces it with the things that actually do serve us. And so since this is in your 11th house, this is going to be introducing you to people that actually are meant to be in your life. This is going to start connecting you to people that truly want to be in your life and deserve to be in your life and actually serve a higher purpose for you. And that's going to be still coming into your life. And there may even be people coming into your life before the end of the year that'll be really significant, or you'll at least be meeting them over the next 2 years of your life. There's going to be some really significant friendships taking off in your life. Then on the 9th of the month, on the 9th of October, we have the full moon in Aries, which is happening in your 2nd house. This is closing out a chapter financially and materially for you. I feel like you are getting ready to close out a certain cycle within your career or within your material life in general. Some of you may really desire to get rid of a lot of stuff materially. Some of you may be having like an inclination, like, I just want to get rid of this, I want to get rid of that. I don't want to have that responsibility anymore, and I don't want to do that. So there's certain things like this that are coming up around this full moon that you are going to be closing out old chapters of. Then on the 10th of the month, we have Mercury moving into the sign of Libra, which is going to be in your 8th house. And as Mercury transits this area, this is when we become a lot more sensitive to
communication. Like our sensors are on when it comes to when people are talking to us. We can really feel the subtle things that they're trying to say. And this is also a time of major transformation as well. So you may be noticing that mentally you are doing a lot of transformation when it comes to how you communicate, when it comes to what you're interested in, when it comes to how you say certain things and how you come across, because you're going to start to realize all of those subtle ways that people communicate. And that's going to be something that you're really attuned to and really aware of during the month of October. And then on the 22nd, we have Saturn also going direct on the 22nd, which is in Aquarius, which is in your 12th house. And Saturn going direct. Saturn is this planet of responsibility, commitments, and challenges. And as it goes direct in your 12th house, this is where we may be taking on more responsibility mentally when it comes to our vision, when it comes to what we desire, when it comes to what we decide to speak about and what we decide to reveal. Some of my Pisces, you might be getting a little bit more secretive and having a little bit more boundaries over your private life. Some of you don't want to express so much of your private life anymore, especially with Saturn transit this area. A lot of you are like, no, I'm having my proper boundaries in this area. I don't want to talk about these certain things. I don't want to reveal, I don't have to reveal everything, you know? And that is what Saturn has been teaching you through the transit through the 12th house, has been how to, you know, have these proper boundaries and how to also be more mature in this area and how to have respect over other people as well. This has been something that you're becoming a lot more aware of over the past few months, and also in the month of October. It's like you're really stepping into this newer, maturer version of you where it doesn't feel like we have to spill the beans on everything. It's like, no, I'm just gonna like be more me and, you know, focus on the things that I really want to focus on, and certain things are gonna just remain personal to you, and that's okay. So that is what Saturn direct is sort of creating, being in your 12th house here. Then on the 23rd, we have Venus moving into Scorpio, which is going to be in your 9th house. And as Venus moves into your 9th house, this is expansion monetarily. This is expansion into creating more love in your life. I feel like Pisces, mid to end of October, is going to be all about sprinkling in more love into your life. How can I expand the love in my life? That is going to be your focus near the end of October, is expanding the love. How can I spread it? How can I communicate it more? How can I create more of it in my life, like creating more of that magic in your life? And this could also be a time where a lot of you are also focused on expanding your finances as well, since Venus is the planet of love and beauty and money. So this could be expanding your finances. This could also be transforming your ways of expanding finances. This could also be transforming your ways of expressing love in your life as well. And then on the 25th, we have our new moon solar eclipse that's also in your 9th house in the sign of Scorpio. So new moons are all about the new cycles, but this one is a solar eclipse new moon. So when the moon goes in front of the sun, and this really intensifies the energy of this new moon, okay? So being in the sign of Scorpio in your 9th house, this is a whole new philosophy on life. This is a new way of going about life. This could be a new era in regards to how you want to expand your life. This could be a new era in what you're interested in learning. Maybe even some of you will be interested in teaching and expanding your knowledge and sharing your knowledge in a bigger way. That can also be our new moon solar eclipse, but this is definitely a new phase in your interests, your curiosities, your hobbies, your philosophies, your perspective on life, how you're deciding to expand further, and possibly even travel. This could be a new cycle where maybe we're making new travel plans for our future. Then on the 27th, we have Jupiter re-entering the sign of Pisces. So it went into Aries, and then it went retrograde, and now it's coming back into your sign of Pisces, so back into your 1st house. This is going to be where we highlight, since it's Jupiter retrograde, this is going to be where we highlight where we have certain limitations on ourselves. Where do we limit ourselves that make it hard for us to expand? And it's funny, we're talking about expansion with all this 9th house energy, but then we're going to be starting to realize where we have our own personal limitations on expansion, on travel, on these certain things so that we can reevaluate it, so that we can adjust it, so that we can actually break through these limitations. So on the 27th of the month, this is about breaking through those limitations. Where do we limit ourselves too much that ends up stopping us from creating the life that we really want to? Jupiter retrograde is helping you figure that out for yourself so that you can expand beyond that and really begin to step into what you truly desire. Then on the 30th of the month, we have our Mars retrograde in the sign of Gemini, which is in your 4th house. Mars retrograde is where we realize where we are maybe taking too much action or not taking enough action on certain things. Being in your 4th house, we may not be taking enough action when it comes to rooting ourselves, creating more permanency, creating more sense of security, creating a solid foundation. When it comes to our home life, maybe we are putting certain things off too much, or maybe we're overdoing it and overfilling our plate with too much responsibility in our home life, creating an imbalance. So Mars retrograde shows us where we may have this imbalance in our home life so that we can actually begin to balance it out, so that it's no longer creating frustrations or problems in our home life, so that we can feel like it's balanced. We don't feel like we're taking on too much responsibility, nor do we feel like we are just letting stuff slip between the cracks and letting it go and forgetting about it and sweeping it under the rug. So there's no more of that happening during the month of October. It is going to be figured out. You're going to be figuring it out by the end. So that is what we have for my beautiful Pisces for the month of October for your astrology. If you are curious about your love life for the month of October, then let's hop right into that. Okay, so my Pisces love life for October, we have release your ex. So I'm seeing a big theme around releasing issues in your love life, releasing kind of like limitations or fears that we've sort of, clung on to from past relationships. There may have been certain pains that you've endured and that you've experienced in your love life that are still sort of like holding you back from experiencing full love moving forward. And that's why we have release your ex. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're hung up on your ex, although some of you actually might be, but this can also just indicate that we're hung up on the failures that we've had, or we're hung up on the pain that we've had to go through. And that's what's holding us back from moving forward. Okay, so there's certain fears that we have that we're scared of running into again. We're scared of re-experiencing them, and it's been holding us back. So the time has come to clear your energy. In the month of October for my Pisces, for your love life, is about clearing your energy, no longer hanging on to this. Because it's interesting that when we actually hang on to certain stuff, we end up recreating it. We also have retreat. So I think a lot of you are also learning how to be more independent. And I'm also feeling this energy of sort of like taking a break to just relax and not be so caught up in fears around love, not be so caught up in thinking about it all the time. I really feel like a lot of you are sort of just releasing old stuff, purging old stuff that you're still holding on to that might be limiting you or holding you back in your love life. And I'm seeing you taking time for yourself, like actual like alone time. This retreat card is making me feel like more alone time. Even if you're in a relationship, I'm still seeing it going really well, but I'm seeing you just taking more time for yourself to heal, as well as being able to cure and release some of those old issues, because it seems like it's harder to release when you're like constantly thinking about them or having things that remind you of them or remind you of those certain fears. And I believe that this time alone is going to really just help you cure that so that you can kind of come back to your love life with a clean slate. We also have the Knight of Pentacles coming up as well. So there's something that you're really committing to. I think you're committing to a long-term goal here in your love life. And I also think that there's like a rigidness that you're really wanting to get rid of. There's certain like things that you've really fallen into that have become like permanent habits for you that I think you're really ready to get rid of in the month of October. We also have Justice. So balancing out, creating more fairness, also putting your foot down and cutting certain things out is what I'm seeing here. So when it comes to fears, this is about putting the proper boundaries out there so that we don't have to recreate those fears, but it's also creating healthy boundaries. Rather than putting a wall up, we can just create a healthy boundary that allows us to be free without stopping something from coming in, right? So Justice is that reminder of that, and Knight of Pentacles is moving forward on something. So I think a lot of my Pisces, you are moving forward on bigger commitments. I'm also seeing for a lot of you, there's a energy of really starting to cut out toxic people from your life. That's a theme that I'm seeing. I'm also seeing a theme of heightening your value of yourself and keeping that value of yourself high. You know what you deserve. And I think a lot of you are like, you know what, it's time to like start putting up those proper boundaries and those expectations. Not necessarily expectations, because expectations could be taken the wrong way, but kind of more of like your values. That's the best way to explain it. You are really solidifying your values, and that's going to be something that's very positive for you in your love life in the month of October. So that is what we have for my Pisces, suns, moons, and risings. I hope you enjoyed your October horoscope. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Be sure to check out your other sun, moon, and rising signs to get the most all-encompassing and accurate horoscope for you for the month of October. I am sending you so much love, and I hope I see you in my next video. Bye.